Hello everyone. Welcome to this video. I kind of wanted to react to my AGDQ run. So I ran Bloons Tower Defense 6 last week on the 7th, which was a Wednesday early morning actually. Not that early, but kind of early. And I wanted to sort of provide my thoughts about the run, about GDQ, and all of that. I thought it might provide some kind of valuable insight about it. Uh, Kind of the first one being, how did I actually get a run at GDQ? So you can kind of see. The run here is Bloons Tower Defense 6 all true expert chimps. That's me right there. I have done face reveals in the past. I did two runs at ESA, and I also co-commentated an Arkham City run at AGDQ 2024. How did I get my run into GDQ? I actually don't know 100% or even like that many percent at all. So I do have some guidelines that I have as like hypotheses of how it got in. So I think the run needs to be 30 to 90 minutes. It can be shorter than 30, but not that much shorter because I actually thought it was counterintuitive to have runs actually kind of cap at 90 minutes unless they're like extenuating circumstances. The reason being, whenever I stream, you get more viewership when you have more continuity with your game, or like I do. And likewise, I kind of noticed that in ESA, as well as like GDQ runs a hot fix now, or they've run it for a long time actually, where they showcase a bunch of different games, and then what you'll notice is that in the hotfix, when the games switch, the viewership goes down, and then it has to rebuild. Whereas if you kind of stay with the same game for a few hours, the viewership kind of climbs and climbs. But GDQ is kind of another animal, and you kind of notice it also when you're in person. People don't watch GDQ really for the games that much. They kind of watch GDQ for the atmosphere. So, in particular, if you attend this thing in person, it's actually very different than in like ESA. I know in this run there aren't that many people, but in some runs where there are a lot of people, the energy is just very different between like a 30 to 1 hour run versus like even beyond an hour. Like sometimes when a run is too long, then you kind of like start drifting off. People start leaving or coming in and stuff. Shorter runs generally have a lot more energy, and it contributes to the atmosphere of GDQ. So if you're going to try to submit a game that has not been into GDQ, or like if you have a speed game, you want to have a category that is between 30 to 90 minutes. And they're not really going to accept a run longer than 90 minutes generally, unless it's like a very popular game. So the games that do have longer runs like that are like Pokemon, or I guess like DK64, like those kinds of flagship games like Mario Galaxy. Those kinds of like really popular games can get in for like a longer time slot, but most games are not like that. Your best bet is to have a category that is 30 to 90 minutes. And one thing you'll notice is, so all true expert chimps, this was not a real category when I submitted this. Make up your own category if you have to. So the inspiration for this was one game I used to speedrun was Plants vs. Zombies. I kind of might get back into it, but like if you look at this YouTube channel, there are a lot of Plants vs. Zombies runs, and the any percent category is the best category. But the issue is that, at least especially when I run it, my PB is about 3.5 hours. The world record now has gotten to like a 3:14 or 3:13. And that's way too long for GDQ. Maybe if Plants vs. Zombies is popular, like there's potential for it to get in, but as kind of like a first speed run, it's not going to get accepted. It's just too long. They don't know if there's actually good ROI on it. Like they don't know if it'll inspire a lot of donations or inspire a lot of like viewership. If they are sure that it will, then you might be able to get away with it. But otherwise, no. So then the person who actually got it in at AGDQ a year ago was just like, you know what? any percent is too long, but if I cut out the last 3 worlds, because the any percent is 5 worlds, it's day, night, pool, fog, and roof. So if I just cut out pool, fog, and roof, the run is like an hour, 10 minutes or so. That can get in. That's between the 30 to 90 minutes. And it did get in. So so that was kind of the inspiration for this, because what it was is like I knew I wanted to like speedrun chimps with this game, and I saw that somebody or Frosty Mate, he ran all chimps, which is it was like a 21-hour run, 22 hours when with more maps added. That's obviously not going to fly. It's not even something I want to run. Like I don't want to spend 22 hours playing chimps in this game. But what I did do is I just like, okay, well, what if I only do the expert maps? Because the expert maps are fun. I'm not doing the same strategy for like 50 maps. That run ends up being about like 3 hours and 45 minutes, about 4 hours. So that's still too long. I was like, oh, but wait. There is this concept in this game from the fandom called true experts, which are 4 maps. And if I only do chimps on those 4 maps, then how long is that? And I did it, and I did a run, and it was like an hour and 15 minutes. I was like, okay, this actually has potential to get into GDQ. Now, I submitted, I didn't expect to get in, at least not the first time, but maybe like if I submitted it a few times, optimized it, then it would get in. But that was kind of the thought process behind it. So if you have a game that hasn't gotten into GDQ, make up a category that's 30 to 90 minutes if it doesn't exist, or if your category is, then just submit that. And now there's more to a submission. So I think there's like 3 categories of runs that get into GDQ that I can kind of see. So one is that GDQ is like actually, it's not just a speedrunning marathon, it's actually a community. There's a lot of volunteers there. They kind of all know each other. A lot of them are friends with each other. There's also the GDQ hotfix has hosts. The hosts are basically, they're just other speedrunners and streamers who volunteered to be a host, and now they're hosts, and then they use that experience to then get a contracting gig at GDQ to host the hotfix slots. So they get paid to do it. And you'll notice a lot of the runners are hotfix hosts, or they like have done runs at like the Flame Fatales or the other things. They're so basically GDQ is a community. If you have people in the community that they kind of know are like reliably good runners, they provide good commentary, they tend to get in. Like GDQ wants to pick people that have kind of a proven track record of success, and also are, you know, part of the community. They want to uplift other people that are contributing to the community. So I suspect that if you volunteer at GDQ, you have a better shot of getting in a run into GDQ. And volunteering at GDQ, you can apply for that. I applied for it 2 years ago. I ended up throwing away trash, which I don't think that necessarily helped me get in, because doesn't really, the skill set for that is not the same as, you know, being a host. But I don't know. It's like a way of sort of giving into the community, and then kind of just at a high level, if you give into a community, you can actually eventually get something back from it as a run in a GDQ. I don't know. That's one thing I want to just suggest, is you should volunteer at GDQ if you want to be part of it, and at some point in the future, you might get a run in. Likewise, what you should also do is I'd recommend co-commentating other people's runs. It's that will give you a track record that GDQ could point to like see if you're good at doing a speed run at GDQ, because you need to commentate your own run. So I co-commentated an Arkham City run in 2024. That's I'm not sure if that helped, but that's I don't think it hurt either. So that's the first part. So one is you co-commentated before or you volunteered before, also definitely like submit to the hotfix runs and do like your commentary on that. The hotfix runs, they like to pick games very frequently. They'll really often actually rotate to your games, I think, at least in my experience. So definitely submit to the hotfix runs, and like if you have like a track record in the community of like trying to help the community and also of doing runs at these other GDQ events, it'll be more likely that you get in. And it's like kind of basic networking. So I think that this is networking. You kind of need to network to get your stuff in, and that's kind of the first category of people that I noticed. So then there's the next category, which is if you have so most speedrunners, they kind of have their speed game and they play it all the time, and they kind of want to submit it to GDQ just to kind of one to like maybe promote themselves, but also to promote their speed game. And that speed game might not be really anything that anybody really cares about, like, beyond the community that you're in. And so what you need to do is you need to kind of sell that game to the GDQ staff who's actually reviewing the games. It's not easy to do. They're actually really good guidelines on how to make good submission videos. So one is you need to have good commentary, and I'll talk about the commentary in a bit. Commentary, like you have to, it needs to come across that you actually like really like your speed game. It also needs to come across that like the stuff you're doing in the speed game is very cool. It needs to like look cool, and you need to like act like it looks cool. So if you're making a submission video, don't be like, oh yeah, I messed up here, this is really bad. Don't be negative, be like positive. You need to, and just like show the committee that you like love this game and that you just want to share that love with like so many people. And so you need to have good energy, and also like commentary is hard. There are people in GDQ who are very just naturally, I don't know if they're naturally good, but like they're really good at commentary. I suspect a lot of it is natural, or they like have experience that makes them very good at commentating. Like I know like one of the GDQ hosts is like a professional actor, so that a professional performer, which is like a perfect fit for something like GDQ. And now she's like actually like she like hosts the intermissions, so it's very, it's like it's a skill though that you have to learn and then practice. So definitely like practice your commentary. I think they also have like a recommendation of putting timestamps in your submission video to say like what all the cool parts are that like the person watching, because the person watching is going to be watching like hundreds of runs or like hundreds of hours of runs. It's a lot of work. So you gotta like, so submission, so like the links to the timestamps of like cool things is very important, from what I heard. So that's kind of the second possibility. So if the community doesn't really know about your game, you need a good submission video that sells your game to them. Then there's the third category, which is I think what I fell into. So I did not have a good submission video, because my video, I kind of just made the category up, did one run without any commentary, and then submitted that. But this category is you have a game that actually the staff does know about and is kind of interested in the idea of, and then like that's it. Like your submission video is adequate, the run is of the correct length, which I think that's what this is. Then you can kind of just get in, and maybe like the fact, oh, this person also does know how to commentate, like he's submitted commentated runs in the past, he's commentated at GDQ before. So I think that's what happened to me. Like I think I kind of just lucked out because Bloons Tower Defense 6 sounded very intriguing to a lot of people, because it's a very it's actually like a very popular game that people play casually, but nobody speedruns it, and the idea of that might be interesting to them. So that's that's kind of my insight on how to get a run into GDQ. I'm not sure if it's super helpful because I personally just got lucky. I happened to choose a game with the worst submission video I've ever made, which had no commentary on a run that I had only done once, because using like really bad strategies. Actually, the strategies I used in the submission video were nothing like what it was actually in this run. So, well, I wouldn't say nothing like, but they were very different and much slower. And whereas I've made like submission videos in the past that never got in, where I like had like pretty good commentary. I like did like a few submission video like iterations, but yeah, it's so I thought it was funny that I just got lucky here. Then when you so the next thing I wanted to talk about is prepping for GDQ. And if you watched my streams, I actually prepared a lot. Like I would like this. Like I've done other runs before, so I've done runs at ESA, I've done runs at GDQ hot fixes, and I like I said, I co-commentated the Arkham City run. So there are people at GDQ who are very good at just talking off the cuff and are just naturally very charismatic in whatever way that they are. And I am not like that. So like one example of a commentator that is actually a regular at GDQ now, he does like multiple GDQ runs, at least as a runner or co-commentator. I think he ran 2 games at GDQ. One was pulled from the backup. Is Jaxler. So if you watch him, he has some really good energy. He's really funny. And I don't think he like explicitly sits down and practices his commentary. I think he's just naturally like that. And another, if in the Bloons community, another person who is also like that is Frostymate, the other really kind of major speedrunner of this game. If you watch his streams, he's just very funny. He's like pretty articulate. He's just a really charismatic like commentator, I think. And if you watch like my really longathon run, it should be, I have it in my YouTube channel somewhere. It was the all expert map, so it's about 3 hours and 39 minutes of speedrunning just the expert chimps maps. And he co-commentated, and he did a really good job. You can kind of tell the difference between his commentary and my commentary. So I don't think I am naturally charismatic at all. I am not good at talking off the cuff. Like right now, I stumble over my words a lot. I actually have notes right now for this part, so I'm kind of reading through my notes for this. And even then, it's not the easiest for me. But basically, the point is that if you're like me at all, where you're not a naturally good commentator or naturally good at talking, like even if you're you're obviously a streamer, but you might like not talk as much during runs, or yeah, I don't know, but you need to practice, or I need to practice. Like I needed to buckle down, like practice my commentary. And so I got this. So this run was accepted. I knew it was accepted on the 1st of November. The run is in January of the run's in January, so I have 2 months to sort of practice this run that I basically submitted one run for. I've done one run in my life for it, and I need to also practice commentary because in my submission video I did not do any commentary. So that's like, okay, I need to like practice this, right? So to do that, I actually wrote like kind of like what I did here, but I'll have a I'll show, I guess I'll edit this and show a screenshot of my actual notes for this run. I wrote down notes for everything I wanted to say, and then when I did runs, I actually had those notes open right next to me, and I would look forward and back at them. And it wasn't really until like when I was at GDQ and I was practicing there that I didn't like, it was actually a pain to have notes because like my setup, I have 2 monitors. I'd have my notes on one monitor, the game on the other. But when I was practicing like at the event, I only had one monitor, so I would just have the game on. So okay, well I'll try co-commentating without notes, and that was kind of the first time. And because I had done it so much to practice, though, like I noticed I was looking at my notes less and less as I was practicing more as we got closer to the event. So it's but the point being, you need to practice. And if you're like me, you should actually write down everything you want to say and then go through that and practice that. And I'm just going to mention I did a similar thing for my previous marathon runs, like my two ESA runs. So as Arkham Knight, main story, and also Plants vs Zombies Any Percent. I did those at ESA, and I did the same thing. I actually wrote down my notes and did my practice runs with the notes. So, and the thing is that you do need to practice this, or at least I do, because things like go wrong during your runs. You might die at a certain point, and you need to have that not throw you off. You might make you make a mistake. You need to be able to commentate through those mistakes. And the main thing is that like this AGDQ, this is like by far the biggest marathon I've ever done. So like I've done marathons in the past, but this is like a completely different animal. There was like I was in a time slot with kind of the fewest viewers, but there was still like 30,000 viewers. I've never done anything in front of 30,000 viewers on Twitch plus YouTube. And that makes me nervous. Like, and when you're nervous, what you're going to do is you're going to fall back to what you practiced. So if you've practiced the commentary a lot, you're going to fall back to doing commentary how you practiced. And that's why you should be practicing. Otherwise, if you didn't practice and you're like me and you naturally kind of just stumble over yourself, then what you're going to do when you're nervous is you're going to fall back to stumbling over your words and not like giving a good commentary to your speed run. So yeah, so practice is very important.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, this is Bloons Tower Defense 6, actively owned and maintained by Ninja Kiwi, who sent me merch for this game. So
okay, so yeah, I wanted to actually talk about the merch, but before that, I also wanted to talk about the co-commentator. So this is David. I didn't meet him until 2 days before the actual speed run I did. But when my run got in, I guess he saw on the games list. I actually had a couple people reach out to me who who don't speed run the game, but were like, "Hey, I love this. I love Bloons. If you want me to co-commentate with you, I'm open to that. Or if you're open to me commentating with you, just reach out to me and I can do that," which is nice. My initial plan though was to get Frosty made as a co-commentator. The unfortunate thing is he lives in Australia, so he would have needed to be a remote commentator. And unfortunately, because of the time slot that they put me in, they only have remote commentators between like noon and midnight. So you can see up on the top right here, I'm at 7:41 a.m. So no remote co-commentator, which is a shame. Frosty would have been excellent. I also asked like some other people, like I think I asked Chom Chom or Dorio. I also asked Doubloon, but Doubloon never responded, and then Dorio and Chom Chom wouldn't be able to make it to the event, so they weren't able to do it. So I said yes to this guy. The other person who also reached out to me couldn't do it because the time slot was so early. So that's nice. So but David was able to do it, and it was nice. But one thing I would recommend that I wish I did more of was to actually practice more commentary with him, because there's like a very specific style that like there's like a I mean we talk about there's a you guys need to like you need to like understand how the other person wants to commentate and kind of adjust to that. And only having 2 days for that was a little bit I would have preferred having more than just 2 days for that. I think if you watch the commentary, you'll notice that his style is to sort of provide information, and you kind of want to contrast that, because in GDQ commentary you really want a lot of energy in it as well. So generally I'm the one who like has no energy and just says stuff. But I think the dynamic here it had to be a little bit swapped. If Frosty was commentating, he would be the one to provide energy, and I'd just provide like the gameplay and some like background information. But here, I think the dynamic was a little bit flipped, and I would have probably wanted to practice that a little bit more. But I think David did a great job. I was actually really happy to have him, particularly in like the hard maps where I had to focus. And one thing that's actually like really different about GDQ versus other marathons I've done. So I've done like ESA, Hotfix, Longathon. I've done a lot of other marathons too, but those tend to be pretty minor. But one thing that's very unique about GDQ is that there is no like real downtime in your commentary. If there is downtime, then what needs to happen is the host needs to read donations. So you're either always speaking or reading donations, and unless like you're really focusing and need quiet for that, but I didn't really need that for this run. But that's very unique to this. In like ESA, there aren't actually enough donations, so sometimes, so maybe you can ask them to read messages, and they'll like try to push something, but there is quite a bit of time for downtime even in ESA. So, but here there isn't, and like when you're doing commentary, you also need to practice the donation stuff. Like you need to know where there's a good time to read donations. And actually, in the 2 days before the run, so I practiced this twice. I practiced with David twice, and one of those times I also had Sweet Peebs there, who was the host. So we actually practiced the donation part as well. And actually, you'll see later one thing that we actually did explicitly prepare for. That was not in my commentary, but it was like, oh, hey, we did the commentary practice, and then the host was like, hey, I want to do this, and I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. We'll get to that in a bit. But you need to. I think the guideline is generally one donation every 15 minutes at minimum. Actually, my run was very unique because it is actually not common to have 2 uninterrupted minutes of donations, which this run actually can have. So it's interesting. So. All right, so we started the video.
To them, they sent me this hat, this shirt, and some other stuff.
Okay, right. So the merch is so Ninja Kiwi sent me merch, which was awesome. So they sent me the hat, the shirt, then the 2 other things they sent me was a backpack and a water bottle. Actually, on my Blue Sky, I have like a thing of all the merch. This ZOMG, they did not send me. I do mention that my sister gave that to me. And yeah, the story behind it is like, I guess Ninja Kiwi saw one of my posts on the Bloons Tower Defense 6 subreddit where I was like, hey, I got this run into GDQ, and then it got like 2,000 upvotes, so they actually saw it. And one of the mods like pinged me and was like, hey, we want to send you merch. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And they sent me merch. And it's like, yeah, take a picture of it and let us know. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. Then actually what was funny is that the actual Ninja Kiwi social media manager, who like posts on their Twitter and Blue Sky and stuff, also reached out and offered to send me merch. I was like, oh, but I already got merch, but thank you, thank you for that. So that was kind of funny. But then I'm glad that she reached out, because I think before the run, I also I think the evening of the run, like the evening before it, I posted in the Ninja Kiwi Discord about how this run was happening. Hey, you should maybe donate to my incentives or check out the run and support the prevent cancer thing or whatever. And that message got deleted by a mod for self-promotion. And I was like, wait, what the heck? You guys Ninja Kiwi sent me merch for this game. Why did you delete the message? And then I was like, okay. But then I pinged the social media person with like my picture of all the merch. I was like, hey, am I doing my run in a couple hours? And she actually responded. I was like, oh, hey, yeah, do you want to like advertise it in the Ninja Kiwi Discord? I was like, yeah, and also on Twitter and Blue Sky and all that. And yeah, let us and then they did that. So that was kind of nice. So I'm glad that the person on Discord reached out. And then I guess the other thing I wanted to point out is like, so I think I saw a YouTube comment on this. So there's nobody in the audience, because as you can tell, the run's at 7:41 a.m. The people are asleep at the event at that time. This was kind of initially it was actually in the run was scheduled to be at like 5:51 a.m. Eventually got pushed to 6:15, and then due to delays during the event, it actually got pushed additionally to 7:41. So this is actually later than it was supposed to be, but it's still very early in general for it. So that's why there's nobody in the audience really. I think GDQ for like games that they're not really sure about, they're going to hedge their bets and put it in like some of these slots that are not the most popular. So which it's fair. Oh, one thing I also wanted to mention was that the run was on a Wednesday at 7:41 a.m. or like Wednesday morning. And if you're like familiar with Bloons Tower Defense 6, there are it's a live service game. So Ninja Kiwi actually updates this game. And the issue is they tend to update this game on Tuesday nights. And when I indicated my availability to GDQ, I actually specifically blocked out all of Wednesday as something that I don't want to do my run in case Ninja Kiwi made a balance change that broke one or all of the strategies. Then at least I'd have a day to prepare something new for it. But then they decided to put me on Wednesday morning. I was like, this is actually a legitimate fear of mine that that Ninja Kiwi was going to make a balance change and I wouldn't be able to do the strategy during a run. So I asked the people at Ninja Kiwi who pinged me, and they said, yeah, we're very unlikely that there's going to be a balance change on the day before the run. I think because apparently they're on holiday right now or something, or not right now, but during that week. And fortunately, they made a balance change at the beginning of December, and balance changes usually happen between every 2 to 3 or 4 months. So 1 month after that is generally very safe. So that ended up being fine. But that was something I was very worried about. So
I'll let my co-commentator introduce himself as well.
Yeah, I'm
so
David. I play this game.
David.
I don't speedrun it, but I play it, so I'm here.
Yeah.
He actually knew quite a lot more than I expected as like just a casual person. So that was pretty awesome. All right, so now here what we're doing is we're selecting the hero skins. So I know people mentioned that I have a lot of monkey money, and one of the reasons is because I don't actually buy hero skins. I don't buy like any cosmetics actually. So I think some people mentioned that I don't have the skins for the balloons either. I stick with the defaults. That's just how I play games. But so one thing about incentives is I did buy the skins specifically so I could so that I could have an incentive, because incentives are nice. They inspire people to donate money. So that's nice. And I actually saw beforehand what skins were winning. So that's why I have them all selected already while
and I believe there were some bid wars for this.
doing it. Yeah, Sweet Peeps asked if
right,
I wanted all the
just
skins
the
now,
first
and I want them all now because it's not a thing. Like I have to switch heroes very quickly, and I can't just switch the skins. Like you could, but that's just extra time. So it's better to have them all now. Yeah, but so I knew Harla Gwen was winning. I knew the Bookworm was winning. I was surprised that Brickle, the default one, won. I thought the Dread Pirate was winning at one point, but then I mean, it didn't. So one thing I wanted to just mention about incentives is so as mentioned, they're a way to like kind of inspire people to donate to the charity. But the one thing about them though is that like lots of games have incentives, and the incentives can be like pretty high, and you can also see like how much money total is sent to them. So at least for me personally, because I'm like I have like an unhealthy competitive streak with regards to that kind of thing. It makes me sad. So I think my incentive had maybe like $400 donated to it total, which is like thank you everyone who donated to it. But I think that was like one of the lowest of the bid wars that had in total money that was given to it. So if I would just say that I think runners really like it when people donate to their incentives. So if you're donating, find a donate to an incentive. I think I'm a better sport about this because the bid wars tend to make less money because they really want to push like the bigger actual incentives. One example of an incentive that also like existed at 2024 was in the run that I co-commentated was Arkham City upgrading to hard mode. And that one didn't get met, and we were actually kind of sad about that. We were like, how are they going to raise $10,000 for our game? Like, is our game actually that popular? And it's not. So, or at least that incentive is not popular. And then I guess one other thing is there is a new map on this game called Tricky Tracks, which I think actually I would say is a true expert and should have been included in this run. But I submitted this run before that map existed. So I didn't want to include it, even though I technically could have and still gone in underestimate. But that's like really risky. So I did submit an incentive to add that map, but it got rejected. So yeah, that happens. I think that because this is in like a kind of a graveyard slot, they didn't really want to actively push for anything super high for this run at least. I think for the same reason, like and I think if they're pushing this incentive, it means they're not pushing another incentive that might get met. So GDQ wants their incentives to get met too. So particularly if you see an incentive that is like kind of far from getting met, just throw in. You want to donate $5, just throw your $5 at that incentive. Like the runner appreciates it, GDQ appreciates it, everyone appreciates it.
Oh, all of them now. Thank you.
All right. So Gwendolyn is going to be the Harlequin.
Nice.
Etienne is going to be the Bookworm.
Nice.
Admiral Brickle is going to be Admiral Brickle.
Actually, it was funny. I did not practice the run really with the Admiral Brickle skin. I always assumed one of the skins would win.
Is going to be the Gentle Monkey Gadget.
Yeah, so I had all of these selected because these were what were winning at the time.
Great choices, everyone, and thank you so much for donating. It's to a great cause. So this game, the idea behind this game is you have these balloons that come on screen. You have to place down monkey towers to pop them. So conceptually very simple. In practice, a little less simple. There are 83 maps. You can do this on segmented between beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert. We're going to focus specifically on the expert maps. In particular, we're going to focus on 4 of them. Those 4 being Ravine, Bloody Puddles, Quad, and #ouch. These are the 4 hardest maps.
So I wanted to talk about this intro. So again, this intro is actually basically scripted. I had practiced this intro a lot, but one thing is that there was an orientation for runners and commentators, and their guideline was actually for their intro to limit it to about a minute. And my intro was about 2 minutes. So for example, like my original intro also would talk about this as the BTD6 is owned, maintained by Ninja Kiwi, who sent me merch for this game, hat, shirt, like backpack, bottle, or whatever. So what I did was I moved that to like the kind of the pre-intro because like there's like the incentive. So I figured that part didn't need to be part of the intro. And then I kind of rushed through like the rest of this because just to try to be within the spirit of the recommendation. So this intro is a bit rushed in my opinion, but that's why it's rushed. I don't know if y'all noticed that I was kind of rushing through it, but
maps in the game, so we call them true expert maps. We're going to start with Quad here, and even more specifically, we're going to go with this Chimps medal.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I was wondering is like I could have like talked about all of this during the run, but like I didn't want to. I had practiced talking about it before the run, and I don't want to. Like I thought it was more important to just do what I practiced rather than do something that was more within the spirit of keep your intro short. But I don't think it was a big deal. So
for no continues, hearts, income, monkey knowledge, powers, or selling. So this is the hardest game mode because of these restrictions. The idea behind this run is to do the hardest game mode on the 4 hardest maps in the game as fast as possible. Timing will start when I click on this Chimps badge. I'll do 3, 2, 1, go. So 3, 2, 1, go.
By the way, that timing on clicking the Chimps badge is not So this category is now on speedrun.com. It's in the category extension board. And the timing actually starts when you click play on your first map. So when you're, if you want to actually pick up this category, I think they also renamed this category to All Original True Experts because now All True Experts includes tricky tracks. But if you want to do a run of this game, I would actually recommend that you start with Ravine because placing those 3 dart monkeys takes a long time. If you mess it up, you can just restart the run. And technically, the time spent placing those dart monkeys is not included in the actual time for this this run, which is why I don't really like that rule. I'd prefer that clicking on the chimp's badge should start the run, just so that you are actually forced to try to place 3 dart monkeys on Ravine quickly and have that be part of the run. But that's just my opinion. That is not how the category works. And you might also be wondering about my map order. So my map order is Quad, Ouch, Bloody Puddles, Ravine. There are 2 reasons for it. One was that I think technically, like as far as like the difficulty of the maps goes, in my opinion, that's the reverse difficulty order. It's not the reverse difficulty order of the strategies because the Ouch strategy is actually at least comparable to the Ravine strategy, if not harder, in terms of how hard it is to execute in a speedrun setting. But the thing is, like, if I started with Ravine, it's just really hard to commentate what I wanted to say in Ravine versus in Quad. Like, the strategy on Quad is substantially easier than, like, Ravine. And, like, also with commentary, it's easier to explain Etienne versus explaining Geraldo and all Geraldo's nuances while also saying, oh yeah, there are camos on this, there's like leads here, there's I mean, I guess we'll see. So it's like,
And
yeah,
so
you
might be
make money
asking
by
yourself, hey,
popping
wait,
things.
this is a tower
I
defense
also have
game,
to
right?
place
Isn't this
these
an
3 darts
auto-scroller?
like
And the answer is actually no.
super precisely. It's like it's just so much easier on a map with at least an easier beginning to kind of introduce things. And yeah, so that and then I think also capping everything off with Ravine, which is kind of like one of the most chaotic endings, was a good choice. But that's why the runs are in this order. If you're actually running this yourself, you should start with Ravine. I paused here because you'll see here, I actually messed up the dart placement. I placed that dart monkey way too quickly, so I just restarted it.
So what happens is
I just wanted to talk about here. One thing that it's actually hard for it's actually very common for a lot of people who speedrun at marathons to kind of remember is that nobody knows or cares if you mess up. So don't dwell on any mistakes. You don't even have to point out your mistakes. Like here, I just was like, oops, and then restarted and then just continued with my commentary. That's what you should generally be doing. Don't dwell on your mistakes. Don't like be negative about them. It actually like if you watch like some runs and some commentators are like who are newer, they're like, oh my god, I'm losing so much time here by messing this up, and it's like don't do that. Just wash. Just like what's the word, like just let the mistakes kind of roll off you. You need to kind of have thick skin, and that's why practicing is important, because you need to practice like just blowing past your mistakes and continuing on with the run, and not like being negative about it. It's important to remember that. A lot of times viewers won't even know that you made a mistake either. Like they'll know, but they're gonna forget after the run
balloons do
starts.
take a fixed amount of time to spawn in, but they do not take a fixed amount of time to pop, so you're not able to actually advance to the next round until you have
I actually
popped
changed
down.
that the couple days, though. I was saying that this run is actually not an auto scroller. Before I was calling it like auto scroller adjacent, but I thought that just making it clear this is not an auto scroller is better.
Every single tower or every single balloon from the previous round, so you can actually make things substantially faster by popping the balloons down as quickly as possible.
So here I have like a little trick. So you want this sub lined up with the rock. So I just put the cursor below the rock, and
You see
then
here is you pop
use the
balloons, you
hotkey
make money,
to
you spend money to buy towers or
switch
upgrade
to
them.
it,
So
and then shove it
here,
up.
for round 8, we're going to try to get a sub, which we'll then have to upgrade to.
So I guess one thing about the commentary that this commentary seems like what it's this is just the way I naturally like doing commentary. There are a lot of ways you can do commentary. I kind of like to really describe the mechanics of the run, or if like I'm doing a story-based run like Arkham Knight, I want to also explain the story because that's like the kind of thing I'm interested in the game. There are other styles of commentary, like if your run is super glitch heavy, and you're just skipping the entire story, you can just talk about the glitches and be like, oh yeah, there's a story that we don't care about, and like make jokes about that. There are also commentators that are very funny who will make, and their runs are pretty much can be just memes. They can just basically joke around, not take anything super seriously. That is not my style because I kind of take my speed games pretty seriously. And especially in this game, like, I don't know, I don't really know how this game looks to people, but like, so the thing is that because of my style, I don't think people who have not played this game are not really going to know what's happening in general. And even if I'm explaining what's happening, they're not going to understand what I'm saying. So I think what this commentary is more geared towards is kind of for people who have played this game, but at kind of a lower level. It's I think this commentary is more geared for that, and that's sort of what what it seems like. So a lot of people, and I think this game is pretty popular. Like a lot of people have played this game, but I think the way that I was like explaining stuff is more geared towards that kind of audience.
The longer range on
which is
round 9,
I think that
when we
style
have
is
enough money.
fine. Maybe
This is
another
about, I think,
commentator
around 25 times
could like make it even more like accessible to beginners. But I kind of tried to do that. It's like, yeah, you place down towers, pop them, make money, and buy more towers. It's like that's like obvious tower defense stuff, but I don't know. I think it's important to say.
I don't remember the exact number. So he's going to be using a variety of those. He has them all on hotkeys. You can select them on the right side, but they're on hotkeys as well.
Yeah, and now what we're trying to do is save up for a very special type of tower called a hero. Heroes are kind of new to this game.
So one thing is that actually this is important when so this whole bit with the towers buy money or make money popping balloons, buy towers, upgrades with the money, save up for hero, and then like this whole like first 40 rounds, I actually have like something really well practiced for this. So it was actually, but I noticed that when I was practicing with David, which is why I think practicing with him more would have been a lot, would have been nice, but it was fine. But like if I'm like silent, then he'll like come in and like say stuff, which is great for GDQ. That isn't necessarily, but the stuff he says isn't necessarily what I practice. So I needed to the 2 practice sessions I had with him, it was really good because just kind of being aware of that. So like if I wanted to make sure that I had like things I wanted to say, to kind of say them without pausing, because he'll like jump in and he'll jump in if there's silence to kind of explain more things. So that's just that was just kind
Here's a
of
very special
something I wanted to just bring up with that. And then the thing with Etienne,
type of tower that when you place it down, it actually
talk about
upgrades
it a bit,
itself
so.
throughout the map. So for their price, they're actually very good value.
Here I want to set
and
the
you
start
want
to
to use
first.
them pretty much as much as
That's
possible
on
whenever you're
round
playing
11,
any
so that's
mode,
the big
unless you're
issue.
doing a very specific challenge. So we'll get down our hero here. This is Etienne. He's a drone operator. He has this
I did
drone that
notice
flies
that
around and
like
pops
I don't really know anything. I don't really get this skin. I guess this is a bat, not a drone, but I just call
you'll
but
see he
because like
leveled
I don't know what skin is going to win, I just call it a drone. So
up to level 2 right there without me doing anything. So that's very nice.
yeah, people
when he
did
gets to level
mention.
3,
I heard that people did mention that you can upgrade it by spending money, which is obvious. Which I obviously
We're gonna
know. I'm not gonna complicate the commentary by
Unlock
doing
something
that.
called an active ability. So we'll see that
This
on the bottom
sniper
left
is
here.
something I've forgotten.
What this will do is
before.
this will increase his
Yeah,
power
so the
dramatically
active
for a
ability
small amount
explanation.
of
This
time.
is all
I'll show
very
that
well practiced.
on round 15. There's this yellow that comes from the left as a visual cue. There we go. More drones.
Yeah. So so the active ability thing that's well
out,
practiced. You
increases
have
the
this yellow
DPS.
that comes in. You need to pop that.
Yeah, so in general, most heroes have like a level 3 and a level 10 ability that they unlock. Level 3 is a modest increase in power for a short amount of time, and the level 10 ability is usually like a huge AoE ability. And overall, heroes are a pretty big part of your strategy because they'll oftentimes either have a lot of support for your other towers. So in Etienne's case, one of the reasons we're using him is that he gives extra range and camo to other towers.
Yeah. So one thing I didn't actually notice while doing the run was that he actually said camo. That Etienne gives camo. And so then I didn't notice that until I watched this back, I think the second time.
And with this map being
because
so spread out,
I
you
then
want a
get
tower that
into
can hit
like
everything. So the range is super useful. But there's other stuff like, you know, increased damage
because I like get into like a big description of how he gives camo detection to everyone.
or stuff like
that's
that. And
like another
generally,
reason why I wish
having
I'd practiced a little bit more.
Like cohesive strategy is super important, obviously, in a strategy game. So building around a strategy that makes sense is good here.
Yep. And another thing about Etienne, so there are a lot of heroes
Yep,
in this game. They all
right
have
here.
a variety. They're all very unique. No two heroes are really alike. And
Yeah, and this monologue is like I had notes for that I'd practiced like this type of monologue a bunch of times. At least like it's not like completely scripted, but that's why I kind of just jumped into it. I didn't hear him say camo. If I did notice him say that, then I might have changed how I said this.
they all have some gimmicks. So we mentioned one of them is he increases the range of all towers within his range, which is why we're using him. Another thing he does is on round 33, which will come up in a bit. There's a specific category of balloon called the camouflaged balloon or the camo balloon, and you're not able to actually have your
Oh, I guess one thing also to mention is if you're doing this strategy, so it actually is faster instead of upgrading the sub to triple guns, to upgrade this guy to red hot rangs, and then even all the way to Morglaives first. I think Frosty did that. Or I don't know. I mean, you also have to get camo on this bottom guy for 33. But upgrading the triple guns is just so much easier. So for this marathon, I did that. But that's kind of like just a real nitpick, I guess.
towers hit them unless they have camo detection. So we're going to get.
And the reason why it's faster to upgrade this guy to red hot rangs is because the leads are ever so slightly slower when you only have your sniper as lead popping.
Sniper here. Sorry, not right now, but we're going to give it camo detection. Etienne also has camo detection, but the nice thing about Etienne as well that makes him very popular among newer players is that when he gets to level 8, he actually gives every tower on screen camo detection, which is very nice.
Yeah,
that
so
definitely simplified.
I'm actually really glad that he didn't mention that. Oh yeah, I mentioned camo. So like if you're that's actually another thing is if you're co-commentating, you want to like co-commentate off of your commentator and like not say things that might throw them off because they're the one doing the run. So that's just a little bit of etiquette that I guess you should probably consider.
It's the strategy and lets us save some money on some like support later that would give camo.
Yep, and these are the camo balloons.
Yeah, this sub that we have in the middle also has an upgrade that lets it shoot everything that you have vision of with any other tower, and that includes camo. So if another tower can see camo, then the sub can shoot it as well.
Yep.
So that's plenty of camo for the early game, and then once Etienne gets his level 8 drone active, we get camo for everything. That will cover like into mid and late game for camo. And then we also have this boomerang here on the right. He's going for this top path upgrade, this glaive ricochet and more glaives. And this just basically has a huge amount of pierce. So
Yeah,
pierce in this game is essentially...
Yeah, this is really important for round 36. If you don't get it, you will very miserably
how many
die.
balloons each projectile can pop.
Like, look at that.
Essentially, it's a way, like, it's used for dealing with clumped balloons. So like,
Oh, one thing that that when I was practicing that I think I tried to do quite a bit. So, all of the important stuff in this map goes from right to left, or not right to left, from left to right. So having this the upgrade menu for the tower on the left is actually like like on this map, at least in my opinion, it makes it harder to see this map. And the other thing is that a lot of times the upgrades, when you're hovering over it with the mouse, it creates this thing here that blocks you from seeing what's going on. So that was actually something I was kind of aware of and trying to avoid. I guess here I just did it because technically this was on the bottom, so it's not covering anything in the middle, but it is covering stuff, which is kind of weird. So using the hotkey for that is nice. I think that one thing is that I wasn't like super like the computer that they had there. It was nice and everything. I don't know. Like I think using the keybinds is a little bit scary because you could click the wrong upgrade and like stuff. I guess here it's like very safe. So I should have probably used the keybind here, and then also made it so that this thing is actually on the right side, which I think makes it easier to see the map or understand the map.
On this wave 36 is these huge rushes of yellow balloons.
You'll see me. I think I do that on like Ouch. In my opinion, it has the same thing. You want this menu generally on the right side, and you'll see what you can do is you click on this dart monkey on the left, which puts the menu on the left or on the right, and then you can click any tower, and that menu kind of gets replaced with that tower. So I do that generally, but that's something I wanted to kind of be aware of when doing this run and like kind of practice having not doing what I'm doing here. So
Or sorry, pink.
Yeah.
That's the one. And the Morglaives just handles that just fine.
Yep. And so Chimps, game of Chimps goes from round 6 to round 100. Round 6 through round 40 we usually call the early game, and what we're trying to do is get some good early game towers to survive it. Right now you see normal balloons, the strongest being this ceramic, which we're actually going to see right here. It's pretty tanky. It takes a lot of hits in order to pop down. But round 40 is going to actually introduce a difficulty spike, which is a big blimp called a Moab, which is even tankier than a ceramic, and it pops down into ceramic. So one thing we haven't really mentioned, this is the Moab, but we got
so this I think like the thing I was saying there, I'd practice that as well, but usually I would practice it like on round 34. But I think David was like talking about the sub and the Morglaives guy, so I was a little thrown off by the Moab coming in during that.
And then, so one thing we haven't mentioned, so the balloons pop down into like smaller balloons that
oh yeah, here the thing about the balloons popping into smaller balloons, I actually never practiced that. I kind of added that because during one of the practice sessions the 2 days before, I think David mentioned that. I thought, oh, that's like a really good thing to talk about, but then I kind of stumble a bit when talking about it because I hadn't practiced it. So imagine if the whole run was like that. If I hadn't practiced the commentary, that would have been kind of a disaster. So I'm glad I practiced, but this is kind of an example of something I didn't really practice, and I took a while. It takes me a while to find the right words to mention it. The Russian doll thing.
As kind of like a Russian doll.
Yeah, it's like those nesting dolls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like each one has a smaller one inside.
Yeah.
That's kind of like so. Traditionally, it's always just been like the balloons all have 1 health, and each time you do 1 damage, it reduces it. The ceramics are the first ones that introduce having like multiple.
I'm noticing I'm not using the hotkey here.
Stuff like that, but
yeah.
But
And so now rounds 41 through 80 we consider to be the mid game, and now what we're going to do is abandon our early game towers and then start building our mid game, which will then transition into our late game. So as we mentioned, this map is really weird.
Yeah, so the idea of abandoning your early game is, when I started playing this game, that's not really something I ever wanted to do. I kind of wanted to make sure all of the towers I was placing early were being used in some way, but like because you make the amount of money you make up to around 40 compared to how much you might make for like the rest of the game, like it is insignificant. Like you can just forget about the boomerang and the sub,
Weirdly
and
laid
just
out.
build into
This is a
something completely different. So
lane map with the lanes that kind of overlap in this really odd way, and the balloons move in sort of a semicircle.
Yeah, essentially they cover 2 of the segments of the map, 2 of like the bends. So it's really hard to tell like where balloons are if they're about to leak.
Yep.
Fortunately, your towers know, but you don't really.
Yeah,
So
and that's what makes this map hard. And so there's a tower we want to place in the middle so that we can cover all of the lanes, but usually you can only place water towers in this middle because there's a big body of water there. But we just got this ice monkey, which is this middle path ice monkey, which is the Arctic wind. What this does is freezes all the water within its range border. And that lets you place a land tower in here, which we're going to use to place this glue gunner.
Yeah, and so that was all, like, that was something I practiced. It's a little bit, it's like maybe one round, like half, like maybe like 15-30 seconds later than I usually did it when I was practicing, but it's fine. And then, yeah, I think I really wanted David to explain the glue gunner because at this point I've like talked quite a bit. I kind of want to, it's nice to have that bit of a break.
Yep.
So
pretty much this glue gunner, it's normally a support tower, the glue gunner, but the top path is has corrosive glue, which causes the glue when it sits on balloons to just do damage over time.
yeah,
And
I'm not doing what I said, where you should use the hotkeys to avoid having this thing pop up and block everything that's like interesting, and also you want this on the right side. But you know, in a GDQ run, it's like stressful. You're not gonna always do the right things.
top path starts doing a very large amount of damage, so this next upgrade is going to be 10 damage per second, which a ceramic has like 10 health on the outer shell, so just for comparison's sake, it'll kill a ceramic in about a second and a half with the lower tiers. And this will be most of our cleanup and most of our like mid-game. Pretty much this this top path, it'll handle everything except for blimps, and so we'll have to use a different strategy for dealing with the blimps, but this essentially, so we've got Etienne's range, we've got that village, which is that building on the left, which we didn't talk about. This thing, it's like a...
Yeah, this is another example of why I wish I'd practiced more with him, because because right now he's talking about the village, and ideally I would have this village selected while he's talking about it the entire time, but I also need to get this alchemist upgraded to a stronger stimulant. So it's just like this alchemist is highlighted, but he's talking about the village, so there's a little bit of it's a little bit hard to kind of synchronize that, I guess, unless you practice it. So, but no, I don't want to take anything away from Dave. I thought he did a great job. I was really happy with him. But I think this kind of like minor thing is something I was like during the run, I was like, oh man, I wish I could just highlight this village, but I do need to get this alchemist stuff. So
pretty basic support tower. It gives attack speed, gives range, gives... One of the upgrades gives camo detection, which we don't have to go for because of Etienne. And then specifically, it's got even more bonuses for primary towers, which are all the blue towers you can see on the right. It gives them even more range and more pierce and stuff like that. So this glue gunner can now see everything on the map, or all the lanes.
And we got this other tower, which is the alchemist. Also, we have this level 10 ability here with Etienne.
Yeah, I've always had trouble talking about this level 10 ability. It's just hard. It's like on round 55, ideally you'd use it, but you can also use it on 56, and here I almost forgot to use it on 56, so if I had kind of remembered that, I would have been able to like mention that and then talk about the alchemist, so I didn't have to interrupt that.
It has this big drone that flies around, does big damage, so that's pretty nice. And then this alchemist, what this does is this is actually the best tower in chimps, because particularly this top path, because what it does is it throws a potion onto a nearby tower that increases its damage, increases its attack speed, increases its pierce, and most importantly for us, increases its range. So now this glue gunner with the alchemist, with Etienne, and with this village is now able to pretty effectively cover this weirdly oriented map.
Yeah, the alchemist is definitely like the game is balanced around the alchemist.
Yeah, so one thing is that I think if you look back, it doesn't really look like the glue is covering the lanes that effectively. It's not until Etienne gets there's like, I forgot what level it is. There's a level Etienne gets to that actually gives this more range, and then it actually does cover it really well.
Oriented map.
Yeah, the alchemist is definitely like the game is balanced around.
But
the
it still
alchemist,
covers it pretty well right now.
I think if it didn't exist, a lot of other towers would be able to be stronger, but certain towers just work so well with it.
Round 60 is another difficulty spike, but we got this upgrade Spike Storm, which what this does is we have the
That was
the tier 3.
that was funny. So I think I wanted to talk about this difficulty spike, so I actually held
well
off on using
Round 60 is
the
another
ability
difficulty spike, but we
for
got
a little
this
bit
upgrade
so that I could like talk about it first.
Spike Storm, which what this does is we have the tier 3 makes these spikes do extra damage to blimps. Right now, it only puts them.
Oh yeah, I forgot that the tier 3 was called the Moab Shredder. So I was like, what is this called? It's like, okay, I wish I knew, but yeah, it's called the Moab Shredder.
In a certain range, but then we have this active ability that will actually cover the entire map with spikes. So this is going to be very helpful for especially these blimp rounds. Round 63 is another difficulty spike. A lot of setups get what we call Pierce Cap because there are 3 really dense ceramic rushes. Ceramic rushes are often hard to deal with because a lot of your towers are really high damage but not super high pierce. But this glue gunner is made to handle rounds like 63, so that's okay.
Yeah, 64 there can also be pretty tough. It's just a really quick rush of a bunch of blimps.
It's the opposite. You need high damage for that. Yeah. Now what we're going to try to do is save up for our tier 5, which is the Balloon Solver, which has a hilarious description. Balloon's a problem, here's the solution. So Ninja Kiwi really doesn't like to give you any helpful descriptions for some of these tier 5s.
When I was initially practicing commentary, I never like talked about these descriptions, but then I noticed like actually the Balloon Solver and the Sky Shredder have like really unhelpful descriptions, which is it's just like a little extra thing to point out. That's pretty funny. And yeah, and then I guess like you'll notice when you watch this run, there's a lot of donations that you can. A lot of time for donations between rounds 65 and 74.
But in these chimps games, what you're going to find is we have to wait a while to do the save up because rounds 65 through 75 are generally pretty easy.
75 is not easy, but that was a misspeak a bit.
And this gives us the opportunity to save up for this more expensive power spike. But this would be a great time for some donations.
Of course, $50 from Varanathras. Blue, green, yellow, pink. Long ago, the 4 nations of balloons lived together in harmony.
Yeah, this was like a really long, really unexpected, but really funny donation message. So if you have funny donation messages like this, it can be pretty interesting. So definitely do that.
Then everything changed when the Red Balloon Nation attacked. Only the player, master of all 4 elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years passed, and my brother and I discovered a new player, a balloonist named Monke. And although his popping skills are great, he still has a lot to learn before he's ready to save everyone. But I believe Monke can save the world.
That was epic. That was so good.
And $50 from EVDV. I'm sure falling asleep to Horror Block will have no deleterious effects on my dreams. Wish I could stay up for balloons, but I'll catch the VOD. Also, if this dono is read during balloons, I will donate $25 more when I find out.
Oh, I saw this.
So, thank
I
you.
saw this donation on the donation tracker, and I was like, oh, I don't know if they're gonna see this or gonna read this one, but then she did. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that one. So that's pretty cool. I hope they did donate. I didn't I didn't follow up on that, but maybe I should.
So much for your future $25 donation, EVDB.
Nice. Thank you so much, guys. It's for a great cause. Thank you all.
Oh yeah, when you're at GDQ, definitely like the point of the marathon, right, is mainly to raise money for this Prevent Cancer Foundation and AGDQ, and then I think it's Doctors Without Borders and SGDQ. That's really important. They're great charities. So definitely when you're doing a run, call out that you're donating to a great cause, just that little bit to maybe make people feel good about donating. So Oh, one other thing is that there's this incentive on, I think, Contra Operation Galuga to upgrade to hard mode. I actually like when you're also running, they tell you to some people like submit donations without specifying something, and the runner actually gets to choose like where those donations go. So I had all mine told mine to go to this because I think upgrading to hard mode also like just runners feel good when their incentives get met. So so definitely think about that when you're if you're doing a run at GDQ.
And then, so we're going to afford the balloon solver here. This is a good opportunity to talk about synergies. So what a synergy is, you're going to hear, if you hear about people playing chimps or Bloons Tower Defense 6 in general, a synergy is when you get a couple of towers that sort of pair well with each other. So this balloon solver that we have, what it's going to do really well, as you can see here, is pop ceramics. It kind of pops them instantly. You'll find, though, on round 75, which is actually another difficulty spike, what it does not do very well is pop blimps. You can see the blimps take quite a bit longer in order to pop down. So
I'm pretty happy with how this part went. I practiced this. This is like one of the things I have like scripted as like, during right after we get Balloon Solver, talk about the synergy of Carpet of Spikes, or not Carpet of Spikes necessarily, but Spike Storm and the Balloon Solver. It's just, I'm happy this went pretty well.
what we're going to do is synergize this with the spike factory that we have here. This spike factory does an excellent job at breaking open the outer layers of blimps into ceramics, which then the Balloon Solver can clean up. And this is going to comprise our synergy for this level. And right now we're trying to save up for the tier 5 version, which is the Carpet of Spikes.
Actually, the Carpet of Spikes explanation, usually I would have explained that in the 80s, but I think the reason why I brought it up now is that there's actually a bit of downtime between now and then what I want to talk about with round 78. So I was like, oh, well, if I don't talk about, if there's a bit of downtime, then I wasn't sure if David was going to talk about round 78 if I didn't talk about the Carpet of Spikes. So I was talking about the Carpet of Spikes just to make sure that I could then talk about round 78 as well when I wanted to. And yeah.
What Spikes does is, you see we have this active ability.
Hence why I would have liked to practice a bit more with him, but like during the months leading up, I just didn't have the time to synchronize that because if you'd watched my streams, I was practicing this at like 1 or 2 in the morning. So
ability that covers the whole track with spikes. Carpet of Spikes has that same ability, but we'll apply it passively every few seconds. So every few seconds, the whole map will get covered with spikes.
Yeah, it's got a few other benefits too. Like it attacks faster just naturally.
Yep.
It gets some extra range, so it can hit that up.
I don't think this Carpet of Spikes actually does hit the upper lane, but I guess I never paid attention. So
Her path a little bit.
Yeah.
And
then 78 is also another difficulty spike with 2 really dense ceramic rushes, but the Balloon Solver is made to handle round 78, so it's not going to be an issue. You'll see the next ceramic rush just disappears into nothing. So
yeah, and one thing that this game, most strategies revolve around is
so here round 80 I wanted to like show off the ZOMG plush. I didn't realize he had it on his lap. Like I didn't know that because I think he took it and put it on his lap because when I went to the bathroom before the run, so I was like looking for it and then finally found it.
Usually,
and I didn't realize it's actually really nice that he had it on his lap because then you see it on camera. Whereas after I took it, I put it right next to me and it never went back on his lap. And I was like, oh, and then watching this fight, I was like, oh, I should have had to go back on his lap. That would have been so much better. So I'm that's one thing I really wish I had changed is show off the ZOMG, or maybe do it in reverse where I show off the ZOMG and then put it on his lap for the rest of the run. But yeah, that's like one thing there are a few things that I wish had gone differently, and that's one of them. So
number of towers. Oh yeah, got something important coming up. There's usually
now that I think about it, it would have been better to have that next to me and then give it back to him. But it didn't occur to me that having it on his lap is actually like really cool. And so yeah, So we did the opposite. It was on his lap for the first map, and then you never see it again. So
Like a relatively low number of towers, and you want to go for tier 5s. If you're familiar with some of the older games, you kind of ended up spamming just a bunch of towers, and by having the tier 5s that really...
yeah, before my commentary was talking about these fortified things. I think this thing about the tier 5s is actually like probably more interesting than talking about the fortified BFBs.
reduces that, which is nice. Gives you more building space and also has like a strategy that feels more cohesive.
Yep.
So
Round 80 introduces this big green guy called the ZOMG, which I have a plush for. My sister gave this to me, so I just wanted to shout her out when we dealt with that. And then round 81 to round 100 is what we consider to be the late game on chimps. So there are a few things that change in the late game. One is that the blimps actually do get stronger. They kind of scale up as the late game goes on, so they take more hits and to pop open. And the other thing is the ceramics turn into super ceramics, which make them harder to deal with as well.
yeah, basically the super ceramics, as like a lag reduction technique, they no longer split into as many different balloons. They just break down. They put a ton more...
I'm really glad he went into this detail about the super ceramics because I don't really understand them well enough to when I was talking about super ceramics, like yeah, they just make them harder to pop down. But the lag reduction is kind of an interesting tidbit that I don't know, that I just wouldn't include, but I'm glad he did include it. So oh, one thing I remember someone was mentioning is that I did not get the white hot spikes on the Spike Factory yet because
HP in the outer ceramic.
you're going to see on round 85, what you do is you use the ability for the first ZOMG, and then when you upgrade to Carpet of Spikes, you get basically a passive version of that ability, which breaks open the second ZOMG. So that's why I don't get White Hawk Spikes. We really need, because we just need that extra little bit of money to get that passive ability to pop the second ZOMG.
Shell, it goes from 10 to 60, I think, and but then they don't like split multiple times each time it goes down. So rather than having 3 billion balloons on the screen, they just put more health. But these become like a problem depending on your strategy because they are really fast. They're pretty small, so they don't get hit by straight projectiles. And a lot of towers in the late game have bonus damage versus blimps, and ceramics aren't blimps. So they, even though it's only 60 health, there's a lot of them, and they run through pretty quick. But the solver handles it just fine, of course.
Yeah.
Especially because when it pops stuff, it leaves that like pool of acid on the ground where it popped. So there's pretty much always acid for the balloons to run into the ceramics and just get applied instantly.
Oh, it does. It does drop stuff on the top. I didn't actually realize that. That's pretty cool. Anyways, I also don't get White Hot Spikes now yet because we don't need it until round 90. And I think on round 87, I want to be able to remove this top barrier in time for the last ZOMG. I think there's like a timing you can do with the Spike Storm so that you remove that and then do a Spike Storm so that you can get spikes, get more spikes to pop the ZOMG as it enters on round 87. So I think that was also the idea behind that. And then after you remove the barriers, then we'll get White Hot Spikes because then you'll have you'll be able to handle round 90.
Yeah, so we got the Carpet of Spikes, and now what we're going to do is there are these barriers. These barriers are line of sight blockers, actually, so we do want to remove them. They actually make the early and mid game a lot slower, the fact that we have to keep these up. But what we'll do is we'll remove them. They are very expensive to remove, so we don't really...
Yeah, I did kind of stumble over my words there and didn't like kind of really explain the barriers and making things slower properly, like in a more concrete way, but that's okay.
We want to remove them until now. And now what we want to do is we have 2 tier 5s, which is going to be enough for this map. Now we just want to invest in some support. So the first support we're going to get is this Top Path Mermonkey. This does decent damage. It also will slow down blimps by a little bit. But most importantly, what it does is it increases the pierce of all towers within its range, which for the Spike Factory is...
I love how you like it's actually funny because round 90 has the DDTs and you don't see them at all because of the Carpet of Spikes. I think this is really funny. And the commentary is obviously like we don't point that out until around 93 because just of how unremarkable they are, and we're like getting all of this extra support. So this Mermonkey and the Ninja
really nice. The Spike Factory's damage comes from its Pierce. So that's nice. The next tower we're going to get is the Balloon Sabotage, which has one of the best abilities in the game. It slows down balloons for a very long time. So we'll get that here. One thing we didn't mention is round 90 introduced a new type of blimp called the DDT, which has camo, lead, and black properties. You can see those there. The Carpet of Spikes just handles them really well, though, so they're not going to really be too much of an issue on this map. On other maps, they actually will be a huge issue. So,
yeah, the immunities are, depending on your strategy, can be really rough. Like if you have dart-based strategies, then they just don't do anything, so you need...
And we will use the Balloon Sabotage for them here. There's a lot of them here, so this will help a lot.
Yeah, one thing about like support towers like this Balloon Sabotage. So in general,
yeah. So technically, if you get decent enough RNG, you actually don't need the Balloon Sabotage. But there have been times where I use the Balloon Sabotage and still die because that's why I also use an active Spike Storm ability as well. It's this strategy is great, but there is. You do want to use abilities for it. I was a little... I really wanted to talk about the transforming tonics. Like I do talk about them, but I think David was talking about something else.
beating a lot of these harder chimps maps, usually you'll see a very large amount of like support stuff to slow down blimps and other towers. You pretty much always see Balloon Sabotage. The bottom path glue can slow down blimps. You'll see other stuff like that. But in general, we are trying to avoid...
Oh yeah, so I placed this Ice Monkey and this Tack Shooter. So actually in one of my runs, I've actually placed 2 Tack Shooters here and get for round 100. But then I on round 99, if you die, then all the spikes from the Carpet of Spikes disappears. So it's really difficult to survive if that happens. So what the point of this Ice Monkey is, it's supposed you get the 240, which lets you slow down or stun the DDTs for a little bit, which gives enough time for the Carpet of Spikes to use another ability. So that's why I got this. Is for 99.
that as much as possible for the sake of the speed run, because slowing down the blimps isn't fast for the run. We just want to kill them as fast as possible. But on these maps, especially towards like the late game, like in the late 90s, they're hard enough that we have to get some.
And we got another tower, which is very unusual, which has these alchemists that turn them into these cookie monsters that shoot lasers out of their eyes, which is very cool.
Yeah, I'm a little sad that I didn't have more time to like show that, just like show that off. It's like you can see that, but the cookie monsters with lasers shooting out of their eyes is I thought it was just like a funny thing that I don't know. I wish I had a little bit more time to.
So you're not going to see that
talk
a lot in a lot of chimp strategies, but it's a very strong tower.
Yeah.
Round 90 has fortified DDTs, which can be
round 99, not round 90.
An issue. And round 100 has this big purple guy called the BAD, which will just pop down. It's pretty difficult to deal with usually, but we're okay.
Yeah, the Carpet of Spikes is really good for breaking that down. But depending on strategies, yeah, it can be rough. So we're gonna move on to the next course here, or state map here. Ouch.
Yeah, hashtag ouch. So this is another 4-lane map where the lanes intersect in this weird hashtag pattern.
Yeah, so this strategy is actually pretty hard to do in speedruns. So it's kind of nice. So the way that this run ended up being is you alternate between a really easy strategy, which is the quad one, then a very difficult one, which is ouch, then a very easy one, which was bloody puddles, and then a very difficult one, which was ravine. So I think that's a good order for it. Technically, ouch is an easier map than bloody puddles, but the strategy here is much harder. I mean, you'll see it.
The lanes are very short, and the balloons, I guess they move at a normal speed, but because the lane is so short.
So I actually have a guide for this strategy, and someone commented that round 6 doesn't work, which I did this run a week ago, and it totally works. You just gotta, right as possible, range border touches this pebble. I don't know
actually,
what
like,
else to
look like they're moving pretty
else to
fast,
say
and we're kind of barely going to survive these first few rounds just with this sub.
If you aren't surviving
the
round
sub's pretty
7,
good
that
for
is
the game,
some
the
that is an
classic
issue
dark
I've
sub
run
strategy.
into.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the sub darts can homing attacks, so
And
they're pretty
round
good.
8,
They can hit
but
like the left lane, even though
I think
you
what
can't actually see that
round
far.
7, I think like
just 'cause of flying
and round
around.
8, there's like some
We'll get a couple subs
there's
down
like
and
sub targeting
just
mech,
get
which I
some basic
started
building
learning
stuff.
here.
Yep.
Like I started
And so this
doing
map has
now,
a
which
big body
is
of water in the middle
setting
that
this
you can
guy to
actually
strong,
remove, but
and
we're
then
going to
setting
make
him
use
to
of the water
first
and employ a
after a
water-based
bit.
strategy. And with
And
water-based
also setting this
strategies,
guy
what you
to
want
and also setting this guy to strong is like a safety thing because I have died on round 9 before, but setting it to strong seemed to work.
you want to use Brickle as your hero. We're using the Admiral Brickle skin, which is pretty nice. There are other skins. The Dread Pirate Brickle is. I actually thought that was going to win, but I really like the default one. So
Yeah, I think the default was the best one because when you get to the Mega Mine, the Mega Mine actually looks like a mine when you're describing it. The pirate one, it's like this barrel, which I guess that's technically a mine, but it's not. But like the actual mine for the Admiral Brickle skin is what you think about when you think of a mine. And then the lifeguard one, it's like a buoy, and that's not a mine. Like it's like so I don't know. That's why I like the default one here. It's probably the best one, particularly when explaining the Mega Mine.
I'm pretty happy with that. We're going to get her down in the middle. One thing you're going to see me do is I'm going to use a sub to try to line it up because Admiral Brickle has the same footprint as the sub, I believe. You'll see me do that with other heroes as well. It's just a way of making sure that we can line her up properly before we can afford her. So
Yeah, just to like get your cursor in just the right spot so that you can, as soon as you have the money to press the hotkey,
Yeah, this is an important thing. If you're using any other hero that isn't Brickle, you use the boomerang to line it up.
yeah, so we'll get that on round 14. And you'll see Admiral Brickle has like this gun, which exists. And then she also has... she also drops these mines, which are very important for round 15. It's just the issue is that these mines get dropped randomly. So we might just not...
Yeah, you can die to round 15 just like, and then you retry it and it works because of where the mines are getting used.
not survive round...
Although I did find switching Brickle to strong makes it a little more consistent, but I don't think that's like the thing.
15 through no fault of our own, but
yeah, round 15 has those pinks that come out for the first time.
Yeah.
They can really rush through your defenses pretty quick.
and then we're going to unlock Brickle's level 3 ability now, which is called Naval Tactics, which is extremely good. With water towers, what it does is it doubles the attack speed of all water towers within her range and allows them to pop every every balloon type. It's extremely good, and it scales up as you improve your water towers. So it's a very strong ability, and we're going to actually use it again on round 22. I have to afford advanced intel first and then use it. There we go.
Yeah, this is all pretty standard,
And
nothing
then
to say.
we're going to use another water tower now, which is the Monkey Buccaneer. This is a boat.
Yeah, so we don't find out until later, but apparently I placed this too far to the right, which is I've like never done before. So that's that was something.
So boats are very nice on this map in particular. They have these guns on either side of them. So on a map like this, especially where balloons are going to come from multiple directions, it'll make use of its projectiles a lot more on a map like this than it would on, like, say, an easier map.
Yeah, so basically, like, it turns sideways and then shoots with, like, the side cannon at the balloons. But then if there's something behind it when it's shooting, then the back cannon will also just shoot out and hit both sides. And especially, yeah, we're going to be going for this destroyer here, which will shoot very fast, and it'll just kind of cover the area in projectiles.
Yep, and then we're going to cross path it. So we haven't really explained cross path. So you have a main path that you can choose. You have 3 choices. You can up.
Oh yeah, the cross pathing is not something I actually practiced. I think David also mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah, we have the chance to talk about it during this this destroyer part. So why not bring that up?
Upgrade that main path up to a tier 5, and then you can do what we call cross pathing, where you can get a second I guess type of upgrade, but you can only go to the tier 2. So
Yeah, so like it ends up making some decisions as far as your strategy. So in this case, like the bottom path gives more range, and the second upgrade gives camo, which could be useful. But then the middle path gives grape shot, and then lights them on fire, which is like more AOE instead. So that's kind of your trade-off.
More AOE, but also the bottom path does give more pierce, which is sometimes actually does make it worth it. But in this case, we're going with the grape shot just because we really need the projectiles, and the projectiles will, like we said, the projectiles will get used more often on this map.
And you can see here, I have everything on. I have this thing on the left side, which is where the balloons come from. So I would ideally want this on the right side. Sometimes, like if you place the boat a little bit more to the left, then it actually shows up on the right side, which would actually be ideal, particularly given what happens later. But
And in particular, we need this for round 36. Round 36 has these really fast pinks that we would really struggle with if we didn't have the grape shot with the destroyer by now.
Oh yeah, and that upgrade order, it's thanks to Frosty, because before I was upgrading to the grape shot earlier, but Frosty was like, no, just upgrade to the destroyer first and then cross path it, and that things just get easier
now. So
We have hit $550,000 donated to Prevent Cancer Foundation. Thank you so much, everyone, for your generous donations.
it's awesome.
Yeah. The host will interject for things like that, or if you haven't let them read a donation in a while, they'll interject, and you need to get excited about the donations. So just be aware of that if you're doing a run at GDQ. Your run is, I don't want to say unimportant, but the charity is about as important as your run, or like somewhere close to as important as your run. So just there's a milestone 550K, which is actually insane. Like a ESA run that I was at, they raised like 150,000 total, and that was like by far the most that they've ever raised. Because then like subsequent ESAs, they raised like 100K and then 50K. So it's 550K is crazy, and this was on the Wednesday. They ended up raising $2.5 million for this. So the last 2 days they raised like $1.5 million for. They like hit $1 million on the Friday, and then the Saturday they raised $2.5 million. It was like 2.4 million, but you know, whatever. So it's crazy how much money they raise. It's like actually insane.
We're going to now get a second Monkey Buccaneer, actually. This one is going to be the cannon ship, which is one of the towers of all time. It's nothing really to write home about, but it does give some extra consistency now. It's not till we get to the tier 4 where things get interesting.
Yeah, so all of the middle path upgrades at tier 4, they give an active ability. So sometimes there'll be strategies revolving around that. Like in this case, yeah. We'll see what that is once we get to it. It's pretty cool for the sake of the speedrun.
Yeah, round 40 is nothing with naval tactics, and then we need to get camo because we don't have Etienne, so we're gonna use a radar scanner village, which is a very common way of getting camo detection. And now we will go get our next power spike, which is upgrading this first Monkey Buccaneer to an aircraft carrier.
Yes.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, I was supposed to use naval tactics at the start of 43, but I forgot. It happens sometimes. Like when I was practicing, I would talk about the aircraft carrier and then not use naval tactics. It's just a thing. That's why you got to practice. And actually, so this part's interesting. So,
okay, that's a little. I forgot to do that. So that was a retry last round. So one part of chimps is that you can't use continues, but retry last round in this game is technically not a continue, because continues in this game give you more money and they restore your lives and reset your cooldowns, and the retry last round does not do that. So
yeah, it used to be if it leaked there like that, then
so the retry last round discussion is not something I practiced. The reason why is like I don't really want to die or have to use retry last round in a run. It's just so happened that this aircraft carrier takes a while to save up to. So this was actually like a really good opportunity to talk about retry last round, which is why I talked about it there. But this kind of thing is like hard to talk about. So, and yeah, David had like this stuff that he wanted to add to it, which he said some similar stuff in practice before, so
You would have had to restart the run, but they made that change, I guess, several years ago now. But it's been very nice because the other option used to be if you could tell that you were leaking, you could pause out and go back to the main menu, and then when you re-entered, it would put you back on the at the start of the wave again.
And I would not submit this run if that didn't exist. So.
Yeah, that makes the run possible.
yeah, I don't want, the only reason why I'm running this, like, it doesn't make the category possible. Like, you can run this category without retry last round. You just have to not die, or you need to like exit to menu. But like the retry last round, in a marathon, you don't want to have like disasters happen that make you lose 15 minutes in an hour long run. So it's nice that the retry last round existed. Actually, I was scared of this strategy because this is an ability strategy. If you juggle your abilities incorrectly, you can actually like totally mess up the run, which is something I was worried about. I did practice this a ton, but and it was kind of had things down. But I like there have been runs where I like messed up and I had to salvage it. You can like salvage 99 with like a 240 ice monkey if you haven't gotten the first strike. But it's just, things can just go off the rails sometimes. So
Possible. Thanks to Kiwi to that.
Yeah, and so we got this aircraft carrier. So what this does is it has the same destroyer functionality, but now there are these planes that fly around randomly and shoot things, and they also shoot missiles at blimps, which is pretty nice. The only real issue with this tower is that the planes do fly around randomly, so sometimes if they're just in a bad position, they might not hit things. But for speedrunning, it's nice to have a global range tower so that you can pop balloons as sort of they enter, which is cool. And then we just got another tower, which is the Monkey Pirates, which adds more cannons, which is okay. But the real reason why we're getting this is for the active ability, which we'll see on the top right here. A blimp will come, and we will harpoon it in and insta-kill it. And insta-killing things is really nice for speedruns because it's fast. And this tower for its price is very good at insta-killing blimps, and it insta-kills BFBs, or a single BFB. So...
yeah, so this strategy, there's a video I want to make where you can like use, like, there's like 4 or 5 strategies that you can use to speedrun like 90% of the chimps maps, maybe like 85% of the chimps maps. Maybe I'll calculate that, but this is one of them where you get Pirate Lord, Carrier Flagship, maybe not even Carrier Flagship, but also, well, probably Carrier Flagship and Glue Storm. But the Pirate Lord is mainly for like insta-killing some of the really heavy Moab rounds, and then the Carrier Flagship and Glue Storm is still kind of just like handle everything else. So, and Carrier Flagship is a very strong speedrun tower just because of, one, how powerful it is, and also just the fact that it has global range. If you get the right RNG, you can be very fast with it. So this is one of the strategies that I think like Firing Range World Record uses. You can use this on, I think you can use this on Flooded Valley as well. I'm not sure if it's faster necessarily, probably a little, but it'll definitely work very well.
In this, particularly in these round 50s, there are a lot of rounds that end with like a single Moab, and usually it would take a while to pop down. So being able to insta-kill it just accelerates that round by quite a bit. So for speedrunning, this is actually like the most important tower.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat.
All right, so here, this Mermonkey is actually a really important part of the strategy. So the initial version of the strategy, which I actually got my first world record on, I think I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I think I did mention it in here. But my initial version, what it used a bunch of bottom path Mermonkeys, which really helped stall out the 90s. But that tower got nerfed super hard, which made my strategy not work. And so I was really not sure how to adjust the strategy to fit this map. But this top path Mermonkey is actually really good at increasing the pierce of these boats and making them just good enough in order to handle the mid and late game more often than not. So this was huge. There was like a Reddit post where I saw somebody get the Lord of the Abyss with Pirate Lord and like Carpet of Spikes or something, and I was like, oh, the top path Mermonkey, does that help? And then I tried, I was like, oh wow, this makes it so much better. So that was, I just wanted to point that out.
Strategy that's kind of exclusive to speedrunning. Like, it's a decent tower overall, but it's not something that you see super often. But in this case, it's very useful here.
Yeah, there's like a blimp here that will just kill. And then now we're getting another top path Mermonkey.
Should have said yoink. Yoink would have been a funny word. Oh yeah, so I do mention the top path Mermonkey. Abyssal Warrior is really important for this strategy.
Monkey we mentioned before. This increases the pierce of all towers within its range, which is actually really helpful for this mid and late game because these towers do struggle with very dense rounds often. And then round 60 is usually a difficulty spike, but we have naval tactics, which will
brain farted here and talked about naval tactics instead of the harpoon.
Well, we have naval tactics, but actually, sorry, we're not going to use naval tactics. What we also have is the harpoon, which will actually insta-kill it. And we've also unlocked another Brickle ability, her level 10, which is the Mega Mine, which is, I think, actually the best ability in the game. So this is the Mega Mine. This is the Mega Mine. What you do is you drop it in the water.
Yeah, like I said, I really like that the Mega Mine looks like an actual mine with this skin. So I'm kind of glad that we got this.
This 5th blimp comes.
Yeah, and basically, when it sees a blimp within its range, it will just shoot off at the blimp and blow up and do a lot of damage in a very large AoE. So there's certain strategies that involve stalling rounds out to get as many of those down. And
we're not going to do that. It's too slow, but it's a very that's why this is like the best ability.
Mine stacking.
You can save a lot of money by just relying on those.
Yep. And so now what we're going to do is save up for our first tier 5, which is the carrier flagship. And this is going to take a while, so this is another great time for a bunch of donations.
Well, I've got a bunch of donations like this $50 one from Rogue Mike. Bloons Hype. Been enjoying this game since the early browser games I certainly didn't play at school. And now I get to share Bloons and gaming with my kids. Shout out to my up-and-coming gamers. Hi, Theo and Ollie, here on my couch. And shout out trans rights.
Oh yeah, GDQ loves shouting trans rights, which is like as they should. I think I don't want to get too political, but like trans rights are especially important now at this point in time in history. So I love that GDQ sort of unapologetically shouts out trans rights. And like I just also want to emphasize, like if you're going to GDQ and you're like are uncomfortable at all with trans people, you should absolutely not go. Just want to mention that like there's like a lot of the attendees are trans. Like, you will not be comfortable if you're not comfortable with trans people. So I love that GDQ is really just goes out of their way and really tries to be inclusive. They also had a thing where they were they had I think AGDQ used to be in Florida actually, but then Florida started implementing a bunch of anti-trans policies, and GDQ was like, we're gonna break our lease with this hotel and not do it. And they actually took a pretty big financial hit, and I think they had to like cancel some of their hot fixes in 2024. They restored them in 2025, but it was I was actually very concerned, but the principled stand, even if it costs money, GDQ is one of these organizations that actually does put their money where their mouth is when it comes to trans rights. So I think it's really worth acknowledging that and supporting them for that. And that's why there's like no issues whatsoever with shouting out trans rights as much as possible in the donations and during the run. So
to note, trans rights. Less than 3 to all the chill folks out there. And $50 from Final Scion. Bloons Tower Defense 6 is one of my favorite games of all time, so I'm very excited to see how you manage to destroy the levels I can barely beat on hard mode, let alone chimps.
Yeah, I was actually wondering how people feel about like because I've speedrun this for a while, and I don't know how this actually looks to a casual person. Like if I know just someone who hasn't played the game before, they wouldn't really understand what's going on. But then people who have played the game before, like I'm actually curious sort of how they look at this. So yeah, let me know if you're doing. Oh, they have a nice trans rights animation. I didn't see that. That's pretty cool.
$5 from guy who's only played UFO 50. Getting a lot of Rock on Island vibes from this.
Oh yeah, I had no idea what that meant, but I said nice to
And $25
act as if
from
I did.
Fireball Kitty, who says, pop, 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 pop.
Oh yeah,
Two more.
the
Pop, pop.
popping. Actually, I saw that. I was watching this on Twitch, the Twitch VOD, and I saw comments that said that the popping noises were like really relaxing. So I have an issue with my stream where sometimes I get like a lot of viewers, especially when I was doing Plants vs Zombies, and also this game. I actually don't really get that many viewers for this game, but I'd get like a lot of viewers but no chatter. So a lot of people like to lurk because they have my stream on in the background as sort of like as like a chill stream, which is really weird to me because like especially with Plants vs Zombies, like if you watch my runs, I like get really mad and it's like the most stressful game I've ever speedrun. But I guess like the popping noises, especially like in this game or maybe in Plants vs Zombies as well, it's just like because I'm like one of the few players in this game especially that plays with all the sounds and music on, so maybe that's like relaxing to people, and that's what I saw in some of the Twitch comments, which was actually kind of interesting. So I guess that's just the vibe that happens. It's like you have the popping noises and it's relaxing to some people.
All right, so we're going to get the carrier flagship just right now.
Carrier
so
flagship's a
this
great
ramps
tower.
Up the damage of everything, the planes, the missiles. There are a few other things that it does. It has like tier 5s tend to have like some interesting things that in addition to just increasing the damage. So one thing is that you can actually place towers on top of this, which is pretty helpful in certain maps. We're not going to use it here, but you can use it in other maps, and it's actually very nice.
Yeah, like if you're in a body of water, you can use it to place an alchemist on top or something like that.
Yeah. Then
yeah, I did want to mention that like in Flooded Valley, like in the run I did at the Longathon the week before this one, I used it to place an ice monkey on top of it, and I mentioned that in practice. And then Dave was like, "Actually, well, you don't need to do that anymore. You can just place the ice monkey on water." I was like, "Yeah, but okay, fine." It's like there's a reason why we place it on top of the flagship on Flooded Valley, and even in the speed run. It is kind of legacy, but it's also like closer to the map. But it's like I don't really want to get into that here. So, yeah. So it is interesting to talk about. And Carrier Flagship is like the first like good tower that I like used when I was first got this game. Someone was like, "Yeah, Carrier Flagship's really good." So then I used it. I was like, "Oh yeah, it is really good. I'm going to use it every map I can." So it's one of my favorite towers.
It also buffs the attack speed of monkey aces, which we're not going to use here. But most helpful is it buffs the attack speed of all water towers, which is very nice. Round 75 is actually, because we have the carrier flagship, is not going to really be an issue. You see that I'm placing a lot of
I actually messed up there. I was supposed to place the Megamind for the first 3 BFBs, and then it's like technically the second, third, and fourth BFB, which comes in a set of 3 because the first one comes in independently, and then the 5th, 6th, and 7th BFB, which is the last set of 3. I usually do like a naval tactics and harpoon one of them, and then the naval tactics actually carries over into the round 76 as well. So that's what I was supposed to do. It doesn't matter because you don't actually need any abilities until round 80, I think. Or at least between 65 and 80, you don't need abilities, or 65 to 79. But it just makes things a little bit faster, I guess.
This is an ability-based strategy, so this map actually has the potential to kind of brick the run if I miss.
Oh yeah,
I
mentioned
my abilities correctly, so I'm gonna have to.
Oh yeah. So what my plan was is if I messed up this, so like it is possible to brick the run, particularly like on round 99. That's like the scariest one. If you don't have the Glue Storm and the Balloon Sabotage available, you need to. You either, if you haven't gotten the first strike, then you can salvage it with an Ice Monkey. But if you do have the first strike, you're kind of toast. And my plan was to literally just skip the map, to just be like, okay, I can't finish this map. We'll move on to Bloody Puddles. So that was my backup plan. I also had a very generous estimate. You can see it was a 125, and I ended up getting like a 108 this run, which I'll talk about at the end. So technically, I actually had my estimate baked in where I could like redo a map if I messed it up. So that was also like in my brain. It's really, one other thing I was thinking is I could skip the map, and then once I finished off like Ravine at the end, then I could go back and finish up and do one more attempt of the map that I messed up. That was another idea I had. I was going to kind of eyeball it, but fortunately we actually got through this map without, we at least got through this map, not cleanly, but we got through it, so I didn't have to worry about that. But that was something I did have in mind. It was because this map, Ouch, is really hard. This strategy is very hard to speedrun, and having this, it's really annoying to have like a risky thing that can like break the run, and you need to have backups with it. So like I like speedran Arkham Knight main story, and there's one skip in the game that like you can mess up and it loses you like 6 minutes if you have to redo it. So I that actually happened at ESA, but what I did was I had backup saves that I just loaded in the backup save after I messed up the skip. I didn't actually mess it up. The game can decide that your Batmobile doesn't spawn in the correct spot, and then your Batmobile falls off in the wrong spot, and then you spawn outside of the map while you're out of bounds, and then everything gets all messed up. It's if you kind of need to really understand Arkham Knight in order for me to explain that properly. But basically, there's a skip that if you mess it up, you lose 6 minutes, and instead of like redoing the thing, I decided to just load in a backup save that is like right after the skip, because between the part you mess it up and the actual part after that, there's like maybe like 30 seconds of stuff that happens, which isn't really that important, and like nobody really cares. So it lets you kind of get through the rest of the run without going over estimate. And that's something you do need. That's something I worry about. There's like a fairly recent example. Someone was running Super Mario Sunshine at GDQ, and they game overed. And when you're doing Super Mario Sunshine, you don't you don't save. Kind of like Super Mario 64, you don't save. So he actually lost all his progress because he game overed, and it was like he was so sad. I think the people are like pretty supportive, but that's like the actual worst nightmare when you're at a GDQ, and that's like one thing in particular that I want to completely avoid having, or at least have a plan for. So he did do a run, I think, a year later of that same category. I think it was like the 100% run, however many shines that is, and that run was apparently really good. But the like you really don't want to break your run like that. So that's just one thing I am absolutely terrified of, and I did have a plan for it.
The late game. But round 78 has a very interesting way of doing it when you have a water-based strategy with using Brickle. So the first ceramic rush is going to come, and if we use naval tactics for it, the rush will disappear.
I love how this timing worked for this, because previously when I did commentary for this, it would be on like round 77 when I would explain this, but the fact that I could explain it during round 78 was nice. I think David was saying something that pushed it, which is actually really good. But yeah, in or the donations ran for a little bit longer. It's because of like, I don't know how long the donations are going to actually take. It's just that thing can vary. So this is why you need to practice a lot. So
the cooldown for the naval tactics will actually expire before the second ceramic rush comes. So for a hero like Brickle, you can just use naval tactics twice and not have to worry about round 78 There are other heroes like that they have abilities that let you basically clear all the ceramic rushes.
Yeah, this is
for example, I think Sada has that. Sai has that.
this is really important if you're doing half cash in particular.
Sort of being aware of
Because in half cash, a lot of times you're not going to have enough money to handle round 78, so you're going to want to use a hero that does it. In particular, you're going to want to use Sada for most of your half cashes. She is by far the best half cash hero. Some people like Benjamin, but like I really don't. And then I guess when I do half cash here, I use Brickle because of the naval tactics as well. So that's not because of the naval tactics, because we're using water towers, but Brickle is also a pretty solid half cash hero on this map. But yeah, this round 78 trick is really important.
that.
Yeah, most of the heroes tier 10 abilities will do that. In Brickle's case, the mine doesn't hit ceramics, or it doesn't blow up on ceramics, so it wouldn't work, but most heroes it would, like Gwendolyn Firestorm or anything else. So as long as you're prepared for it, it's usually not that big of a deal.
And then round 80, we'll just use naval tactics. We would not survive this without naval tactics, so I needed to make sure I had it available for that. And now this late game, what we're going to do is get this tier 5 version of this.
I've actually for round 80, I've messed up before where I didn't have naval tactics, but I did have one harpoon. And you can also survive round 80 if you break open the ZOMG and use one of your harpoons for one of the inside BFBs. Like I did survive that. So as long as you either have the harpoon or the naval tactics available, you can survive round 80. But if you don't have either of them, you are toast. So that was another thing. I've used all of those before and it was not good. So that's up to like it's unfortunate to even like have round 80 be an issue because there's 20 rounds of other stuff that you would want to go over. You haven't even gotten Pirate Lord yet, but yeah.
What this does is it makes the power do more damage, but most importantly, it gives you more harpoons, so you can insta-kill up to 6 Moabs or 6 BFBs or 2 ZOMGs. And insta-killing 2 ZOMGs is actually huge.
Oh, it was too early.
I did that a little early.
Yeah, you want to harpoon the last 3
because there aren't a lot of towers that can actually
BFBs.
insta-kill ZOMGs. So,
yeah, and they have a lot of health, so it takes a while to get through.
Yeah, they have a lot of health. They can also insta-kill the fortified ZOMG on round 78, but
97.
Sorry, 97. Yeah, sorry. But we'll also see on round 85, we'll just insta-kill that wave, and it's really, really fast compared to just popping them down normally. And then we just got this glue gunner. We'll explain that after round 85. But round 85 is pretty funny.
Just waiting for the second one to spawn.
There we go. Then, so we're actually going to get a third tier 5 here, which is going to be the Glue Storm. Right now we have the tier 4 version, which is the Glue Strike. This gives an ability like that, which drops glue on everything on the map. The glue slows down regular balloons, and it debuffs blimps, and it also removes immunities from DDTs. So this is actually an extremely important tower for the 90s. I think I need to start focusing.
Yeah,
So
so I can explain, yeah.
Yeah, this is why I really liked having David here, is particularly the rounds 90 through 100 on this map are, like, you have to cycle through your abilities fairly precisely, and so having him explain what was happening is
so essentially,
very helpful.
yeah, as mentioned, it removes the immunities, and since we have a lot of darts and explosions going on with our strategy here, the DDTs are immune to darts because they're lead, and explosions because they're black, and so the glue strike will just remove that. For 90 and 93, you can just use naval tactics because it increases damage. So it's
they're going to add a content warning. I did mention that this is a thing, so I don't know if they reacted to this or if they like were aware that this, because there was like a Google form I filled out and I like linked a video. I was like, yeah, this is going to be a thing on Ouch, but I don't think they knew that because they probably would have mentioned, they probably would have done it now, but I think they reacted to it.
For 95, because 95 has a huge rush.
Oh, this was a huge thing. So I did mention I placed the first Buccaneer too far to the right, so I couldn't fit this, or maybe this glue was like in the wrong spot. I was actually very worried, but then I figured that if I put it down here, at the very least, we'll get through everything with retries at some point. So it was probably going to work out.
DTs, I think it's like 25 or 30 in a row. And Blue Storm lasts for 10 seconds, so it'll be.
And that's something also that never happened in
wave.
practice. So I was not
So
like,
I was
like,
to place this tower. He may have messed up his place.
yeah, and then I totally forgot about the DDTs here.
Whoops.
So I got really thrown off by the boat not
so
fitting.
for
That
these
just
DDTs,
doesn't
as you can see,
happen.
we can't handle them, so we need to use naval tactics for them.
I guess I'll place it down there. It's fine. Yeah, the placement positions are sometimes kind of.
I think it might like actually be really good actually to place this at the bottom, because maybe the bottom part is a little weak. I don't know. But placing it within the jungle drums range is very nice, though. That ideally it would be nice, but you know, having it see camo isn't as big of a deal, I don't think, because the glue storm, I think the de-letting is good enough for everything else to pop it. So
Tight to figure out exactly where you can place it. So in that case, he may have placed some stuff slightly wrong, so there just wasn't quite enough space up there. The Buccaneer actually has like a pretty big footprint. It's kind of hard to tell. Like,
I actually forgot to place. I'm supposed to mega mine things on 94, but I think I forgot. I was still like thrown off by this boat, so this is why you got to practice so that you don't get thrown off by mistakes like that.
Yeah, so here's 95, and once the DDT spawn, he's glue storm. So
Yeah, and it's the same ability, but just lasts a very long time. So, and it lasts just long enough to de-lead every single one of those DDTs.
yeah, so you can see he's getting another Sabo there, which he'll use for 99. I assume maybe 98 as well. I don't remember.
No, just 99.
Just 99.
We don't have time
Yeah,
for
if
98.
if you use it during 98, it will not come back for 99. So do not do that. Maybe if maybe if it was on the other side actually, then the reactor might no, the reactor only does boat cooldowns, water tower cooldowns. Sorry, never mind.
So just grabbing a few other things here. So yeah, as mentioned before, 97 will go down instantly, but 98 is it's definitely the densest round. We didn't really talk about it last run, but it's the densest round by far. So you just need a very large amount of total damage and pierce.
Yeah,
to
you
get
gotta
through it.
kind of need to get not unlucky
Storm,
here,
which
we
didn't mention that.
did.
It causes everything to take more damage.
99 was weird. I like swear, look, I like
also-
I had the mouse over it, and I swear I clicked it, but I don't know, for whatever reason it didn't.
Wait, oh, I
didn't
click
work.
the thing?
There it goes. Okay.
There we go.
Should have used the hotkey.
And then round 100, I did this.
Yeah,
a little
round
late, but what
100.
we're going to try to do is
I think I got the first strike a little late, right? That was
100.
what happened?
There it goes. Okay.
Yeah, I got the first strike. Okay, I got it during 99, so it was okay.
I did this a little late, but what we're going to
I
try
also
to
mistimed.
do is,
I also mistimed the first strike, and the backup if you mistime the first strike is to use the harpoon, and then you'll survive. So that's what I did.
use the first strike to clear that. We'll explain the first strike a bit in a bit.
Yeah, ideally
so
you would.
what we'll
Ideally
do
you'd layer
is
skip
now
it,
go
but
to the
it's.
next-
I found that it's really hard to talk about layer skipping at the end of Ouch. There's so much going on, whereas talking about layer skipping at the end of Bloody Puddles is really easy because there's kind of nothing going on between round like 97 to 100 on Bloody Puddles. So it made sense to move the layer skipping talk there. In theory, it might make sense to even switch the maps, but I don't know. It's whatever.
map, which is Bloody Puddles.
Harlequin
Bloody
skin is
Puddles
good.
used to be the hardest map in the game. It used to have this absolutely miserable dart substart, but now the Ninja Kiwi added this new monkey called the Desperado, which makes this start
I've never
substantially
tried
easier.
With the
It's
old
still
start.
not an easy map. You can see there are a lot of
The old start is horrible, and I don't think that. I think with this new start, there's like a maybe like a 50 to 60% chance you get through up to round like 26 without dying, and then 26 like it's you have your strategy. I think with the old strategy, you had maybe like a 10% chance of getting that far without dying if you have auto start on, because auto start changes all these sniper shot timings. You'll have to like. I mentioned it in this run, but and we even died on this. I think on like round 23 or 22 or something.
Definitely
23.
Still like
We'll find
either the
out.
hardest or second hardest map, but
Yeah.
the Desperado improved the early game a lot.
I found
This
that I
was,
need to
like a
micro
revision of
this
a
Desperado
existing already
to
expert map,
first
called
when
Muddy
the
Puddles,
reds
which
come
is
for
similar, where it has like these
consistency,
paths going down.
and then you got to set it back
on
to
Muddy Puddles, they
strong.
go down one path at a time and they change every wave. So I guess they decided once people beat that, because it actually wasn't possible on release, but once people beat that, they wanted to make it even harder.
All right, now I want to mention this is Dorio's guide. We modified it a little. I think I didn't like Dorio cross path like the top right alchemist. He got the second discount village way later, and then he had like 2-301 alchemists instead. I get like a 4-2-0. And I use abilities. But this is Dorio's strategy. It's I suspect it's not like actually very fast because the strategy is actually very, very easy. And what that usually means is if the strategy is easy, that means that something faster exists. That's much harder, like that, like something more like the ouch strategy. But Frosty and I didn't have time to figure anything out. I'm terrible at finding strategies that are fast, so I didn't figure it out. Also, I didn't really want to. I like locked in the Harley bid war like fairly early, like in November, so I didn't want to also have to use a new hero or or something like that. Like it's actually really nice that we have four like very unique strategies in this run. It made it a much better showcase, even if there's probably a faster strategy here.
So they added Bloody Puddles. So now you have to deal 2 waves at a time. And yeah, it's a rough map. So this early game is going to be precise with placing a lot of just random towers like dart monkeys and some snipers and stuff like that in various positions.
So the snipers are nice because when they shoot, they can actually shoot things that are off screen, and their projectile. They don't have projectiles. They just pick a balloon and then instantly pop it. The issue with this strategy is that at least this early game, is that the sniper shot timing varies depending on when you place them down during a round, which can mean that you either survive or don't. It can make a difference. If you're placing them down in between rounds, so if you don't have auto start on, then the timing's a lot more consistent. But because we have auto start on, it's substantially less consistent.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll like die on a round and then you'll retry it and survive. And the reason why that happens is because of the sniper shot timing or like some like RNG resetting. So dying is slow, or you might think that dying is slow, which it is, but if I die, the reason is because it's to reset all of that. That's just, let's go with that.
Yes. So that joke, I think Frosty messaged me on Discord and said to say that, that dying is all intentional, which so I did that. I thought it was funny, so.
Yeah, it's all part of the plan.
All part of the plan.
Something we didn't talk about is targeting options if you're not familiar with this game. With each monkey, you can choose what you want them to target. So by default, they'll attack the first, which is the thing that's like closest to the exit on screen within their range. With snipers, though, since they deal multiple damage per shot, which is rare.
This is excellent info that he provided. I didn't have this scripted either when I did it. In fact, for this run, I was kind of just like, because the beginning's actually like still pretty hard to do. It's actually really nice that he provided that info about targeting the snipers on strong.
For early game towers that do 2 damage, we tend to put them on strong, especially like to get through the early game, because that way they're not wasting their damage on red balloons. And the other benefit is that the bigger balloons are faster, and so having them take down the like outer.
Oh, I guess one thing I mentioned is I didn't mention is that there's like a thing on round 21. So if you go to Dorio's guide
damage
on round 21,
especially like
he sets this top left sniper to close. But in like the speed run, like what you have to do is you have to upgrade this sniper to twin guns. Then you have to very quickly go to this guy and then micro him to close if you want to do that. So a lot of times I don't actually micro him to close because it's just extra work. And oftentimes you will just survive. But
is that
then you have to set him back to strong and then go to this guy and upgrade him to full metal jacket. So I managed to do it there actually. But other times, like sometimes I just don't even bother.
Like outer shell as fast
And
as
then we
possible.
died
then
to
it
this
runs
round
with the phase
anyway.
forward.
That was really weird, but
And
and
you're gonna
then
see
you do
me
nothing
do
different,
different,
and it just
just gonna
works.
work.
it'll
Yep,
work.
so-
Yeah. This is it's also the sub. The sub can be weird.
Oh yeah, one thing to note is that the sub darts behave differently if you have fast forward on versus not. Something I guess due to the multi-threading or whatever. I have no idea. But yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's shooting darts that they last a long time, but they're just kind of spinning around. If they're headed towards a balloon and that balloon pops, then it'll just change
Yeah,
direction.
Dorio's
and-
guides us to set this to
And so the
strong
hero we're
on
using in this
27
map
or
is
25.
Gwendolyn. So Gwendolyn, her deal is that she loves fire. She's a pyromaniac. She has this main attack, which I'm sure will surprise all of you, is a flamethrower. The reason why we're using her is once she has so when she gets to level 4. She gets this passive ability called the Heated Up buff, where all towers within her range will get increased damage and they'll get lead popping power. So when
I should have read the stats. So what it actually is it gives towers increased pierce until level 17, and then it also gives extra damage. So technically I'm not wrong, but it's at level 17 where these guys get extra damage. Doesn't matter, like nobody in the audience cares, but that's just from an accuracy standpoint that could have been better.
with snipers, it's actually very strong. So Gwendolyn also buffs fire towers, which is actually surprisingly less common when you're using her. Using her with snipers is very strong. See, I'm getting this wizard here. So one strategy with these kind of...
Yeah, you gotta, sometimes there's like a red that like leaks and you have to micro this one camo sniper to first. So that's what I was trying to make sure I did there.
maps is to get these global range towers like the sub or the snipers. Another approach that you can do, we're combining both of them, is to get a tower that only covers half of the map, but it covers it very well. So this wizard is going to just provide some very much needed relief for the sub.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's got pretty long range, so it can hit 3 lanes, which is always enough to do at least some damage throughout.
Yeah. And Gwen also has a level 3 ability that I'm sure will also surprise you, drops some fire on the road.
Yeah, and that does...
Yeah, here I forgot to upgrade the sub to the camo detection for some reason. I don't know why.
A lot of damage and stuff walks over it.
I don't know. I just like brain farted or
It's actually really
something.
important for round 40 for dealing with the insides of the Moab. If you pop it in the right spot on top of it, then the insides basically die instantly, which is great.
Yep, and I'm adding some glues here for extra safety. So we're now preparing for round 40. We're going to do a very weird... Oh, I didn't get this. We're going to do a very weird thing.
Yeah,
which...
so I noticed that camo was like almost leaked, and the reason why is because this wizard was supposed to have popped those, but I was like, wait, that wizard must not have camos. So then I was like, oh, there we go.
Is normally you'd want to just get this...
I suspect you don't actually need to give it camo now. It does give it a little bit more range, so maybe covering the middle lane a little bit more is actually worth it, but you might not. I might not have needed to actually get that if we survived round 37, but that's okay.
Up to this alchemist upgraded immediately, but we're going to try to upgrade it at the very end of round 39. Otherwise, we will not survive round 40.
Yeah, so the Alchemist, the top path upgrades to last for a certain number of attacks, and this acidic mixture dip, the first buff that you get, it only lasts like 10 shots.
I actually don't know. Maybe I forget. I think I tried it where if I upgrade this alchemist early and use the cocktail, I think you'd still die. So, but if you mistime it like a bit and use the cocktail, I think then you will survive generally. So the cocktail just makes this a lot safer. But if you want to not use the cocktail, you need to upgrade the alchemist like really precisely, and it sucks. So.
Shots, and so since the sub is always shooting, then it'll consume those quickly. But if you wait to upgrade it until the Moab spawns, then you can make sure that those attacks are used on the Moab, which is important.
Yep. And so now we're getting some villages. So we've seen the villages, but we're getting this discount path. And what this does is this allows you to save money in chimps because everything placed within its range.
Yeah, that
cheaper.
ability
and
makes
one pattern
43
that's actually
much
very
more
common is to
consistent.
get a second discount village in range of the first one or right next to the first one. This
Because I think what Dorio did is he upgraded this top right alchemist to faster throwing for 40 to survive 43. But if you can cut that upgrade if you just use Gwen's cocktail. And then I saw Frosty actually got this second discount village earlier, which is so I started doing it. I'm not sure if it's actually faster, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Someone's going to come up with a better strategy later, so it doesn't really matter.
This will give you an extra discount as things get more discounted, but more importantly, these villages have these other paths that are very good, we mentioned before. So this path has jungle drums, and this increases the attack speed of all towers within range, which is very good. So you do want to get...
Oh yeah, the upgrade path here is actually important because round 45 has these like... one of the rounds, maybe round, I forgot which round, but upgrading. So what it is you upgrade this second village to the discount. If you do that, you need to upgrade the sniper to an 022 first, because I think I think it's round 44. They're like these camo purples, and they will overwhelm you unless you have the actual attack speed to hit them with this sniper. So you need to get the 022 because like this wizard can't hit them even though it sees camo because they're purples, and then you upgrade to the bouncing bullet after the 022. Otherwise I think it's much harder to survive. I think there were times I was trying to upgrade to the bouncing bullet first and then the attack speed, and then we would die. So that's just important to know, I think, for round 44.
Get that. And then there's this middle path, which we used before as well, which gives camo detection for all towers within range, which is going to be very important in particular for this sniper, because this sniper will not see camo organically. So if you get 2 discount villages like this, you're able to actually get both paths of or you'll be able to get the benefits of both of the remaining paths, which is very nice, and you get some extra discounts. The trade-off is obviously there's a lot. These take a lot of space, and these villages are have a pretty high upfront cost. So it's only really worth it if you're doing kind of a spam strategy where you're spamming a bunch of tier 3s.
Yeah, something I don't remember if you mentioned, but
yeah, I didn't.
Okay, yeah, the upgrades only work up, or the discount only works
Yeah,
up to
this
tier
is
3, so.
I think that the tier 3 thing I think is something that David was mentioning in practice. I was like, yeah, that's good to mention. So
Yeah. And so the strategy we're going for here, the main strategy, is called the Axis of Havoc. So there's an achievement in this game called the Axis of Havoc where you get all 3 tier 5 snipers in a game of chimps. So the first tier 5 sniper we're going to get is the elite sniper. Right now we have the bouncing bullet sniper, which does what it sounds like. It shoots a bullet that bounces onto other balloons. It also has shrapnel, which is very nice. We're going to upgrade it to the supply drop, which for its price is not actually a very good upgrade. It doesn't do enough damage and pierce to justify its cost. But the reason why it's so expensive is it gives you an ability that doesn't exist in chimps that gives you extra.
it's kind of a shame that that Ninja Kiwi got rid of the ability in chimps, because it was kind of funny to have the plus $0 that show up. It might have been funny
Money
for
and
the
lives, but you
audience.
can't make money or extra lives on chimps. So
Yeah, you used to be able to use it, and it was
Yeah.
funny because you'd pick it up and you'd get plus 0 money and plus 0
Yeah.
lives, but they took that out because it was kind of a distraction.
one thing is we actually unlock Gwendolyn's level 10 ability, which is this Firestorm. It lights every balloon on fire and gives every tower the heated up buff, which is very important for this map in particular. Because there are these rounds where there are, like this one, where everything is...
One thing though, I do kind of want to mention is that it's unfortunate that they got rid of it, but there's like a pretty decent reason. And one thing that they actually mention when you're in the orientation was that you don't want to like be like negative in your run and like say mean things about the developers, like the developers like made a mistake or like did like something really silly or really dumb or stupid. There is like the thing like with this truck here, but this is like Ninja Kiwi deliberately trolling you. So you want to like they really want you to have kind of like a positive vibe, kind of positive energetic vibe. You can like make jokes, like obviously, but generally try to err towards being positive. I just wanted to kind of mention that. So Like I don't want to like be like, yeah, they made like the worst decision ever to remove this ability because it was funny or something like that. But you could be like, yeah, they just got rid of this because it was a distraction, but it was funny when it was there. That's like a much better way of framing it. So if you're doing commentary, just keep that in mind, because I think GDQ prefers things to be a bit lighter and positive and not like be mean to the devs, particularly because in a lot of runs they actually have the devs come in and commentate. So and if a lot of runners are not nice to devs, that might be less likely. So
on the outer 2 lanes where Gwendolyn can't fire, so she's not able to apply the heated up buff passively. Now we're going to upgrade this guy to the elite sniper pretty soon, and what this does is this substantially increases the attack speed of the middle path sniper, and it provides an attack speed buff to all other snipers on the map. So when you're doing a sniper-based strategy, it's very important to generally get this sniper first.
Yeah,
and for
so
us,
you have to. So when you upgrade to the elite sniper, it sets the targeting to elite, and then you have to set it to first. And one of the practice runs, I forgot to do that, and David was like, "Aren't you supposed to set it to? Do you need to set it to elite?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And if that happened, if I forget, you should absolutely tell me. So it is extremely important for your snipers not to be on elite in this strategy. In fact, I would say ever, but I think I have used elite targeting before, so.
particular, it's very important to get this.
But at least the elite sniper actually should never be on elite, because it's better on first, in my opinion. Maybe if you're doing like the cripple Moab or the elite defender, then having those on elite has use cases, but the elite sniper itself should never be on elite generally, because the bullets bounce anyway. So having it on first is just going to bounce backwards anyways. And you want it on first because then the shrapnel will also have just be more useful. So
For round 63, because we will not survive round 63 without the elite sniper. And next up, we're going to upgrade the second sniper to its tier 5, which is the elite defender. This is going to take a while, so this would be another great time for a bunch of donations.
I've got them. I've got a few donations from.
Oh yeah, this is actually the earliest I have. Like in practice, all my donations were, the earliest was like round 64. This is like in the middle of round 62, and I think this even threw off the host
Folks internationally,
how many donations there were.
From Sleepovary, who says, "Thank you for the amazing horror block. Greetings from Finland."
I think this is probably like closer to 2.5 minutes of donations that she had to do.
Huvaswami, $25 from Nexus. Greetings from Germany. And $25 from Vincent and Miranda. Greetings from a snowy Sweden from my 2 kids.
Yeah, when round 63 looks like that, where it took a while for things to pop down, oftentimes that does mean that you've set your snipers to elite. I think there it was just kind of like Alk buff and like Gwen stuff, but yeah, that was not the greatest 63, or it looked a little bit sketchy for a 63.
6 and 8, who wanted to donate to a great cause. Now show those balloons what for. And remember, our next game is Animal Crossing.
They added the content warning back, I guess, for the Firestorm.
There is a bid war for the character choice, where the top 2 choices will be chosen. Number 1 is far and away the pink-haired anime girl, but number 2 and 3 are in close contention. You could get Pigtail Girl for player 2. It's at $50 right now, and Spiky Hair Guy is currently at $75. So GDQ.GG/donate. Make the difference there. We are also at $6,400 out of the $10,000 we need to upgrade to hard mode for that Contra Operation
I don't think I told them about the Firestorm. I don't think that occurred to me as an issue.
Once again, when you go to GDQ.GG/donate, make sure to apply the incentive.
Hard run modes are so nice, so yeah, y'all got to get your donations in for that. I think we have time for any more if you have
yeah.
Yeah,
let's see.
She was not quite prepared.
Had to donate during the balloons.
It was okay.
Run.
She recovered
this game
well.
Has melted my phone's battery, but I still come back to it. Good luck on the run. Question for everyone: who's your favorite monkey?
Oh, that's an excellent donation message. You should definitely ask questions like that like the runners can respond to. It can give some nice content, or like we can talk about towers. I guess other people also, other donators can talk about towers. So it would actually have been nice if they had read this donation even earlier, because that's just another point of discussion. So.
Who's your favorite monkey?
I really like the Desperado now, particularly the top path.
Yeah.
Big fan of it. And yeah, I've been there as well, melting my phone.
Yeah.
When this game came out, I was playing it a lot on my job because I had a lot of downtime. And definitely destroyed my battery back then.
Well, Roland, Victor, Celia, and Mom have an answer with their $10 donation. We've been playing balloons together since before Celia, age 5, was even born. Our favorite monkeys are Dartling Gunner, Banana Farm, and Ice Monkey.
Great choices.
Good choices, especially the ice. I'm a big fan of ice.
I love the carrier flagship myself. So we got the tier 5, the Elite Defender. This is a.
I guess they said monkey and not like tower. So carrier flagship is the top path of the Buccaneer. I don't know what my like favorite monkey is. I guess I would just say the Buccaneer or the monkey ace, but I don't know. The carrier flagship is. I'll just call that a monkey.
Everyone's favorite sniper. It's just a moderate amount of damage on a single target, but very.
Oh yeah, speaking of being positive, so in my previous versions of commentary, I said that Elite Defender is the most overrated sniper, and then I was like, okay, I should probably not say that. I should be positive and just say it's everyone's favorite sniper. So that's how I adjusted my commentary a bit for GDQ.
Very fast. So it's very nice. It also increases the attack speed as balloons get further down, but you don't really notice that.
Yeah, but again, talking about like synergies earlier, the Elite Sniper and Elite Defender have a great synergy together because the Elite Defender, since it does single target damage, it's really good at cracking open the blimp layers, and then the Elite Sniper just has a lot of pierce and a lot of projectiles, so it'll clean up the insides pretty well.
Yep.
So they go very well together.
And now we're going to actually build into our third sniper, which we're going to upgrade to the May Moab. I'm also prepping these other snipers, which I will explain in a bit. But so what the May Moab does is it does increased damage to blimps, and it stuns them for a little bit. And particularly being able to stun blimps, there aren't a lot of ways to do that, so that's actually really helpful. Then when you're doing Axis of Havoc, you're not really able to just get all 3 tier 5 snipers, especially on a map this difficult, and survive. You need to couple it with some type of ceramic cleanup. So with sniper strategies, one really effective way at getting ceramic cleanup that works for some reason is to get a few bouncing bullet snipers and then give them an alchemist, because the bouncing bullet.
I still don't understand why that works, but it does. So I think there's the increased attack speed. I think these two snipers, they're going to hit the same ceramic with an alch, and then the shrapnel, I guess, will hit ceramics beyond it and then bounce onto them. The shrapnel then hits the ceramic behind that and then bounces. I don't know. I don't quite get it myself, but it does work. So who am I to doubt that?
Bullets have shrapnel, they bounce, they have pretty good pierce, and the alchemist makes them a lot better.
Yeah, and they also benefit from the Gwen heated up buff as well.
Yep.
So they'll end up doing a lot of damage to the smaller insides. And you can see the positioning here. You can see when he's trying to place it, the like X1. So this alchemist only gets 1 discount just because the range is fairly limited because it's taking up so much space. And 1's good enough, but
yeah, you usually want to get double discounts. So now, so we mentioned snipers have global range, but the one thing that's been a real pain in this map is this truck. This truck actually is a line of sight blocker, but if we spend $1,000, we can actually get a helicopter to remove it, and whoa. The helicopter crashed, created another line of sight blocker, and we have to spend another $500 to remove it.
Yeah, so I was trying to make that funny. I don't know if anyone in the audience actually found that funny, but yeah. And then the commentators were where we practiced that, so that's why the host was like, "Uh-oh," she like knew that was coming.
So Ninja Kiwi decided to add that to the hardest map in the game. So thank you, Ninja Kiwi, for that.
Yeah, I mean, Ninja Kiwi trolled us, so I don't. That's not mean to thank them sarcastically.
So we could go for the tier 5 version of the sniper, which we'll explain in a bit. But before we do that, we're going to get some support. So the first is we're going to get is one of the best support towers, which is...
It's actually kind of shocking that we never got Moab Glue until the third map. We literally got the other paths for the glue gunner, which are actually less common. So it's actually really funny to me. But the Moab Glue is... definitely a really good Chimps tower.
We're getting a glue gunner again, but this time we're going with the bottom path. We haven't seen that yet, surprisingly. This is the Moab Glue. It shoots glue on a blimp and slows it down, which is really good. The upgrade on top of it is also really good, which is the Relentless Glue. What this does is when a blimp breaks open after having the glue on it, it stuns all the balloons within its range, which is really nice. Just stunning balloons in general can provide you just enough time to survive. And then the other support tower we're getting is the Moab Press. Every few attacks, this actually makes blimps move backwards, which you can kind of see here. And being able to make blimps move backwards is so good. So
yeah, and these are especially good versus the slow blimps like the ZOMGs that being able to push them back. Since they move so slow, they don't make much net distance, and basically, so we're using this. We're setting up a bunch of slows and support.
I'm
on
glad
this
he
one
picked
side,
this up. This is part of my commentary, which is we're slowing down the left half while we pop down the right half, and then turn this into a single lane map.
One side of the map, while the snipers can shoot the other side. So they'll tend to spend most of the early part of the wave shooting down on the right side to take out that part because it's not getting stalled.
Oh, did I forget to upgrade this to primary training?
Yeah, and this is just a very nice way of dealing with weird multi-lane maps like this. Just you turn it kind of into a pseudo single lane map in this case. Because this map, I think United knows, has a lot of lanes. So. Yeah. 93, we really want this Firestorm is going to be really helpful because there are DDTs that we have a hard time popping without having lead popping on all of our
even
snipers.
in Dorio's guide, he was like, just
use
use the ability this round, even though you technically don't have to. Just use it.
So one of the cross paths decisions that Deacon made is on his the middle path snipers, he's using the attack speed path rather than the top path would give more damage, and it would give lead popping. But since we have damage giving from other sources, from Gwen and from the Alchemist, then using the attack speed ends up being a little bit more effective overall.
Yeah, and it's cheaper, that's the main thing. And so now we're going to go for the tier 5 version of this main Moab, which is the Cripple Moab. What this does is this substantially ramps up the damage.
I guess the primary training is completely unnecessary.
So a little bit more pierce, which is nice. The most important thing is for round 100, it actually debuffs blimps that it hits as well. So it makes them more susceptible to taking damage. And for round 100, this is a really big deal. It makes it much easier to pop down, especially because the lanes are kind of short. So we'll get that here. You'll even see like these ZOMGs get popped down very quickly now.
Yeah, and that's an excellent synergy with the Elite Defender, because the Elite Defender attacks so fast, so adding flat damage on top of that makes a big deal.
Yep. And now we're going to go for this first strike, which is specifically for round 100. It gives this ability that shoots a missile that does a huge amount of damage, particularly on round 100. And as I think we tried to allude to it, but it was a bit fast. What we want to do on round 100 to save a little bit of time is to layer skip it. So if you use the first strike ability at a very specific part of the damage phase, you're able to pop the round 100 guy without spawning any of the insides.
Yeah,
so we're going to try to do that here. I tried to do.
Yes, we have so much time to explain layer skipping in this map, so it's just a really good thing for commentary because it's like so chill. You don't even need this first strike at all, but it does speed things up by a couple seconds at the end. So
do that on Ouch as well, but we didn't succeed. I had to use some other stuff.
Yeah,
but,
it's about halfway through the last damage phase is when it gets used.
So we'll do this.
So this is the last phase, and then there you go.
There you go. Yeah, so that's Bloody Puddles done, and now we will move on to the final map, which in my opinion is the hardest, which is Ravine. So I'm gonna have to focus here.
Yeah, so this start for Ravine, I'm actually really glad I got it first try. I had to practice this start a bunch. In particular, this
map has a very precise
this
start.
left dart monkey. Apparently my visual cue for it was not correct. This is actually extremely precise. There's like this really weird snipe you have to get. And actually this top dart monkey is less precise than I thought. So I didn't really get that until like a few days before when I was practicing, because I was like messing up this for like multiple attempts in a row, and I was like, what is going on? So I'm glad I got this. But before the run, like when you're setting up on stage here, what it is that they have two areas, and they kind of alternate between them between runners, so that one runner can get set up and then the other can do the run, and like while they're doing the run, then another runner gets set up on the other side. So I was set up, and like during my setup I was practicing the start of Ravine just to make sure that I could get it or get warmed up with it properly.
If not for one little map obstacle, there's a sword in the stone up there in the top right, and we'll have to pull that out at a certain time on round 7 just to take out one of the green balloons.
But it's not easy to commentate this while doing this, so
like
I'm glad David was here.
Monkey in the top right had to be on last, and
Yeah, I need this. There's a very specific visual cue here. There, that should be okay.
hopefully this works here. And
By the way, this is not easy to do quickly. You need to, if you're gonna speedrun this map, you just need to practice this this start. It's not too bad. It doesn't take that long to learn it, but it's not easy. So
To really snipe
yeah,
that
you
one
get
balloon.
that
Yeah.
snipe on that red.
Yeah, and then this green, there's a green that's going to leak if we don't use the sword like that. So Ninja Kiwi forgot to add that sword when they first released this map, so this map was actually impossible on chimps.
Yeah, I think they hotfixed it pretty quickly, so it was fine. But it's a funny story.
Yeah, and then round 9 is actually hard to do quickly. I need to place this dart monkey fairly precisely, quickly. I think this.
yeah, I used to have trouble with this, but I think after a few attempts, like now it's not really that hard. And you're not gonna, now I don't really misplace it. Like you can misplace it and then you die on round 11, and I don't think you can really recover. But usually what will happen is you just don't place this in time, and then you die on round 9, which gives you the opportunity to retry the round and just place the dart properly with all the time in the world, and then you will survive round 11. So it's not really that bad.
Should be good, but we're not going to know till round 11. If we don't survive round 11, then I have to restart the level.
Yeah, unfortunately we can't do that trick where like you place another or have another tower range indicator show up, because Dart Monkey's already the cheapest tower. So.
Yeah. So let's cross our fingers for round 11.
Round 10 lasts a
before
little
we,
longer than I thought. So
Talk about our hero. So
Yeah,
let's
so-
see. There's this yellow we need to be able to pop down, and there we go.
Okay.
All right. So the hero we're using in this map is Geraldo. So the heroes we used previously, they have this.
yeah, GDQ audience likes to clap when you do something, like if you do like a very difficult trick or a difficult glitch, and they also clap in between. For me, they clapped in between maps, but it's because I didn't really tell them that something was hard. So because I told them this was hard, that like gives them the opportunity to do that. So just kind of like hype up some of the hard stuff that you do if you're doing a GDQ run, because it will let the crowd get in on it, and the crowd likes to get involved.
Main attack that gets stronger, and they have these abilities to let you push past some of the harder rounds. Geraldo does not have either of those. His main attack is bad and doesn't get better, and he has no abilities.
Sorry, apparently his main attack does get better. I didn't know that. I saw that in a Discord comment somewhere. I never actually looked it up. So apparently his attack does get better, but not like in a dramatic way. So the spirit of my comment is still correct. So,
But what he does have is a shop full of items.
Whoa, a shop full of items. Like the Yeti, one of our merch supporters.
Yeah.
The Yeti.com/AGDQ, where portions of the purchase price from all items sold will be donated directly to Prevent Cancer Foundation. Amazing.
Yeah, definitely check that out.
yeah, I told her. So that was when we practiced the commentary. She was like, "Oh yeah, when you say a shop full of items, can I plug the Yeti shop?" Which yeah, you guys should get merch for it, because as David's gonna say, it's they have some good merchandise. And yeah, and then there was like a a Twitch comment that said, "Oh, so that was very smooth, sweet peeves." So I told her that, and she thought that was funny. So
The shirts are always fun. I always end up getting some of them. But yeah, so this shop has a lot of things you can place that are very strong for their price. So these shooty turrets he's placing down are kind of like dart monkeys, but they quite a bit stronger. He's placing these the road spikes, which will help catch leaks because it's very difficult and you leak a lot, but you can't leak on chimps. So.
Oh, I think I like so the spikes here are all gone. I think I noticed that. That's usually really scary, and the reason why that happens is because I placed this turret too late, and it's like shoots. It doesn't like make use of its pierce on round 16, but it turned out it was okay. So I think because of the way we do, I think because of the way we use our glues in this strategy, it's actually fine. But I think I was very worried about leaking on the left side, so particularly on 36. But it was fine.
Early game. And we're going to use this actually really good item, which is the glue. So what the glue does is you place it down and it slows down balloons. If you're using Geraldo, you'll often, if you find yourself dying while you're using Geraldo, just chuck a glue down at the entrance and you'll survive.
Yeah, placing this glue, you need to place it ideally you would place it between rounds. You kind of need to just you can let one of those white balloons like get by and you'll still be fine. You just don't want to let all of them get by. So it's not really that hard, but it is something that like you need to pay attention, be like, and try to get that as early as possible, but not too early. Like it has to be on round 22. If it's on round 21, then the glue runs out for round 25 or 26, and then you do not survive that.
Very good. There aren't really a lot of cheap towers that slow things down, so that's why it's so good.
Yeah, like it is temporary. I think it hits like 200 balloons, but the alternative would be, I think a glue hose would cost like $3,000 or $4,000.
Yeah, a lot of times you use like a 110 glue, which is still pretty expensive and not quite as good.
And yeah, it doesn't have like the pierce that the pilot glue does.
Yeah. And we're using these items to save up for this tower, the Druid of the Jungle. It's a really good tower in speed runs because it has global range, and in particular, it creates this vine that has global range. It can show up at the very front of the map, and as mentioned, popping balloons at the very start is very fast. So,
funny thing, one thing you can mention is that Druid of the Jungle is like one of the least favorite towers among like actual expert chimps players because it's just not good enough. It's too expensive for what it gives you on most maps. Although I'm actually surprised because like if you put it on last on Ravine, it's like pretty potent. But like I guess on Ravine you usually use like Velociraptor or whatever. But yeah, so Druid of the Jungle is not popular amongst expert chimps players, but it's very popular amongst new players. So I think previous iterations of the commentary did mention that, but I was like, it's not really relevant information. It's also a little negative, so I don't really want to get into that.
We're gonna get this glue down here for round 31 as well, and I want to place it a little bit late just so that it lasts through like kind of the later rounds. I'm gonna get down a monkey ace here. I'll explain that in a bit. What we want to do, though, is also use this camo potion, which Geraldo has, which will temporarily give 1 tower camo detection for 5 rounds, which is...
Yeah, I think previous versions of the commentary was like explaining too much of the monkey ace. Probably shouldn't have even acknowledged it until later, honestly, but whatever, it's fine.
It's just very cheap. The alternatives for getting camo are not very cheap.
Yeah, again, it would be like getting a village if you want a permanent solution. But this gets us through the 30s because there's camo on 33, 36, 37. Yeah. And that's just enough. And then we don't have to worry about it until around 42.
So we got this tower, the monkey ace. So you can tell it's this plane that flies around and shoots these darts that never hit anything because they shoot outwards. What we're going to do is upgrade it to the Neva mistargeting, though, and this will make the darts stop missing because they will home in on balloons. So before we do that, though, there might be some...
Oh, yeah, so what happens here is sometimes one of these camos doesn't like get popped down by the Druid, and the Druid right now is targeting strong, So when this like next rush of pinks comes, it'll target those instead of like this leaking camo red. And none of these guys can hit camo. I don't have a spike here either. So I need to micro this guy to first if there's a camo that's leaking. So that's what I'm trying to do here.
Stuff I do here.
But it
Now
turned
we'll,
out to
hit
work.
this. So now, so the Neva mistargeting is very nice. We're also going to have.
And actually, so I moved it here. So this is like a really safe way, but I know Frosty, what he did was he actually moved the Neva mistargeting up front just so that the darts hit things faster, which makes perfect sense. I have done that before, but just for Marathon, I just wanted to be a little safer.
To give it a camo potion, unfortunately, because the end of round 37.
And generally, when you're playing casually, you want the Neva Mist down here because then the darts will make more use of their pierce by shooting into the balloons. If they're too close to the balloons, then sometimes the balloons might go past them, and then the darts will have to chase them, which makes them a lot less effective.
And has some camos that our Druid isn't able to solo.
Yeah, but you can see this is doing like a lot of damage. Like each round of shots that it fires just.
Oh yeah, one thing that's like pretty annoying is that what I used to do is I used to upgrade this to lots more darts and then give it a camo potion, but the camo potion sometimes like I forget to use the camo potion and then you die on 37. So it's just I think the getting the camo potion earlier and then upgrading to lots more darts for 37, like it's not slower to do that. So and it's just easier. So.
Got everything.
Yeah,
So.
and the global range is very nice. There are line of sight blockers on this map, which make it very hard. Like snipers don't really work very well. And we just got this other item called the Jar of Pickles. This increases the attack speed, but increases the damage, but reduces the attack speed of the tower it's placed on. So there's a trade-off that you kind of need to understand your tower very well to do. This blade trap is a very good round 40 support thing for if you're using Geraldo. It's very expensive though, so you don't want to use them too much.
Yeah, the commentary here is a little hard because like I want to explain the pickles and the blade trap, but things are a little too fast for it. That's just I think that, but I did practice that so.
But it is very helpful on round 40, particularly on this map because round 40 is actually pretty hard to deal with.
Yeah, we don't have like any defenses for Moabs at this point because we're still kind of getting stuff set up because the early game was really rough. So using that basically flat 700 cost that we don't get back, but it lets us get through it quickly, which is important.
Yep. And then, so instead of Pickles, though, we'll use the Alchemist as kind of our permanent buffing tower for this. This tower pairs really well with the Alchemist because it's shooting 12 darts right now. Every time it shoots 12 darts, it's considered one attack. So the potions don't really wear off very quickly because the potions wearing off depends on how many attacks it does. And each dart does, I think, 1 damage or something. But when you buff when you give it an Alchemist, it doubles the damage.
Actually, is it 12 darts or is it 8? I don't really care, but whatever.
Or it doubles the damage because it adds like +1 damage to it. So you're basically doubling the DPS of the Monkey Ace. And we like Monkey Aces so much, we're actually going to get a second one. So we're going to get the top hat this time. So the darts.
Yeah, it did say 12 darts. Okay, cool.
Are going to miss, but the nice thing about this one is at the tier 3 we get this thing that shoots this missile at blimps. So the missile does not miss, so that's very nice. Apparently it used to circle around a lot.
Yeah, it was really funny. It would just like spin around a blimp for like a second or two.
Yeah. I'll explain this dart monkey in a bit that we're going to place here, but on round 51, Geraldo is going to unlock this bunny that costs about $2,000 and doesn't do anything, but we're going to buy it. It's very cute, and this is GDQ. We save the animals here.
I guess one thing about this skin is the bunny actually isn't very cute in my opinion, but whatever. And then the thing about saving the animals, that's just like an inside joke at GDQ. I think it's the Metroid run. There was always a donation incentive for saving or killing the animals. There was like something in the game, I guess, for that. So I just thought having a reference to that could be kind of fun.
Then I
I think I heard somebody laugh, but you don't hear anybody laughing. That's why I like laughed like had a little guffaw or whatever that is. But you don't hear anybody laughing in the audience. Plus, there's like nobody in the audience.
So actually on round 53, we can get another one. And you know what? Let's get that one as well. You see me getting these upgrades to these dart monkeys. So we're upgrading it to the Juggernaut. So the Juggernaut has quite a lot of pierce, which is nice. It hits a lot of balloons. The real nice thing about it is that on this map is it knocks back balloons as well. So it serves as extremely good ceramic stalling in the mid and late game, which we kind of need.
Yeah, ceramics will be a big issue for this strategy. So.
Yeah, and then also these projectiles bounce off of walls. Oh, we'll get a third bunny as well. But these projectiles bounce off of walls, and when they bounce off the walls, they can actually re-hit targets, which is really nice.
Yeah, the explaining the Juggernauts while also getting the third bunny. I think that the way that worked out, it was pretty good, honestly. But I was like struggling. How do I like talk about the Juggernauts and talk about the third bunny? But
really nice. So this is a kind of tower. It's pretty cheap, and it can punch well above its weight on those kinds of maps.
Yeah, if it's like shooting down the bridge and there's a bunch of ceramics, they'll all just get like knocked back super far. It's great.
And then actually on round 59, we can even buy a fourth bunny. Again, just kind of as a flex. It totally doesn't turn it into a demon bunny that jumps around everywhere and pops everything, right? And it's totally not a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which has this bunny that jumps around and bites people's heads off.
Thought that was well delivered. Honestly, if I may say so myself, don't want to like pat myself on the back too much.
What this bunny is really good at is it really excels at popping down ceramics. So round 63 has 3 very dense ceramic rushes, and we'll see how the bunny does on it in just a bit. Yeah,
they're basically gone before they
disappeared.
get to the bridge.
So, sometimes they actually get much farther down. That time was a good example, though, of the bunny just absolutely shredding through the rush. So
it one-shots the ceramic. So how well it does actually depends on whether our darts hit it first. So it's kind of funny. And then
I guess I didn't mention that the bunny jumps around randomly as well, so that also can impact how effective it is. And usually you have to pair Geraldo with a couple of other items in order to make it more consistent. So like the glues and stuff, which is what you see me use here. And so if you look at like other strategies for this, what the bunny is kind of equivalent to on this map is to get, if you got 2 balloon impacts, the balloon impacts stall the ceramics well enough for like things to pop them. So, or if you had on some maps like 1 spiked mines kind of can serve a similar purpose as the bunny, but the bunny is substantially cheaper, so it just kind of compensates for that cheapness with like extra randomness. So that's kind of the trade-off that you're making, or that's kind of how this bunny is balanced. So I think if you had a map with 1 balloon impact, then like that's cheaper than a bunny. But in a map like this, you need 2 balloon impacts to be effective, and it's much cheaper than 2 balloon impacts.
When Geraldo gets to level 13, so the next thing is that his shooty turrets actually get...
Oh, I said when Geraldo gets to level 13. I could have also said on round 67, but honestly, I was sick of... I just wanted to avoid any of those 6-7 jokes. So.
Upgraded. They become very good for their price, so we're going to want to spam them down as much as we possibly can. But
I don't think I consciously said that, but I practiced just because like I could say around 67, or I could say level 13, and then I think I just started practicing level 13, and it was like kind of that's just what I fell back to in practice, and that was the reason. So.
But in the meantime, there's quite a bit of idle time, so this would be another great time for some donations.
Got a lot of love for you and the game. $15 from Asfaron. Was excited to see Bloons Tower Defense 6 on the schedule, and was even more excited when I saw One-Eyed Deacon was running it. Had to donate during the run. $100 from Mike. It's my first in-person GDQ, and I'm donating in honor of my partner. When we started dating, we were long distance and played lots of balloons together. We just got engaged, and I couldn't be happier.
Oh, congratulations.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
That's a
Love you,
sweet
Maddie, and
story.
good
I
luck
love hearing stories like that, and then like just congratulating them. I wasn't like expecting those kind of like personal, kind of heartfelt donations, but they are nice to hear.
One-eyed Deacon on the run. $10 from Sandlord Kevin. Balloons is the best tower defense ever. I'm thinking so.
Agree with that.
Yeah. $25 from J Pappy. Had to donate during one of my and my son's favorite games. And $25 from Finbo. So excited to see my all-time favorite game on the GDQ stage. Best of luck for the run, and shout out to my girlfriend who agreed to watch this with me. And $250 from a sapient curling stone. Cancer bad. Speedrunning good. Words difficult. Kindness easy. Less than 3.
Nice.
250 is a lot. I guess she read the donations that were related to the game first before going to that one. But yeah, I think shouting out a $250 donation is great.
Well said.
That's awesome, yeah. So the next real thing we have to worry about is round 75, which we're not actually going to do anything specifically to address. We're going to kind of just cross our fingers and hope we survive. But round 76, we haven't mentioned it. It also has one ceramic rush. So one thing you can do on ceramic rushes is to chuck down a glue at the entrance, which will slow down that ceramic rush, which gives our bunny enough time to pop it down, which is very nice. So what we'll do is the glue only lasts 2 rounds, or I guess it lasts 4 rounds, but it'll get used up.
Yeah, I forgot
so
that it
place-
lasts 4 rounds, and I saw the description, it said 4 instead of 2. And then my reaction to round 75, I actually there's like a 5% chance that you die. Like I've died maybe like once on it before, so I know it's a possibility, but like it's very rare. But it does look very close sometimes, so I really wanted to play it up because it's probably a little more entertaining. So it is played up a little bit. It's not really that bad. So
Sit down here, and then let's just
yeah. So this one though did get very close, but
Maybe?
yeah.
So for 78 with
But that was played. That was definitely played up. Like I wasn't super worried about it. So
the 2 ceramic rushes, we're going to prep that by
I think one thing I forgot to do though is usually to also make 75 a little bit more consistent, or the idea was to make it more consistent by upgrading the bottom monkey ace to sharper darts, which at the very least I do during 78, because I do mention there's like a queue for placing the second glue, which changes if I haven't spent the money on the sharper darts for the monkey ace. But
getting these creepy idols down. What these do is they blow back balloons, and
oh yeah, Frosty doesn't do these creepy idols. He just places a bunch of spikes because the creepy idols disappear, whereas the spikes are kind of stay for the late game. And he says that usually there's like a very small chance you die on 78 if you glue the 2 rushes. But I was like, I don't want to take that small chance. I just want to place creepy idols. Plus, I can explain creepy idols. It's just another one of Geraldo's things that you can explain is kind of cool.
stun Moabs. They're very, very good for their price. They only last 2 rounds though, so you can't.
Oh, one thing for the bunny, you need to have it on strong up until we get Sky Shredder, and then you need to put it on first. And because of that, we need to set these turrets to first manually because they're all going to be on strong by default. So that's just one thing. I don't mention it, and it's not even necessarily easy to see in the run like what I'm doing for that
Just spam
and
them,
why I'm doing
or I guess
that.
you could, but they only last 2 rounds. And then what we're going to do is on round 78, we're going to try to glue both ceramic rushes. I have a queue for the second ceramic rush, which is when we get to $38,280.
Oh, I guess I did upgrade that. Sometimes I
will place
don't,
down the
so.
second glue to catch the second ceramic rush. So we'll do that. And you can kind of, I think you saw for the first rush, a lot of it got blown back. Oh, I placed that way too early. That's okay.
I actually didn't place it too early. I think I got distracted and I thought that I like misread this after I placed it, but I placed it actually just like at the right time.
So you see we have a lot of money saved up. The reason why is we're trying to save up for this tier 5, which is the Sky Shredder, which has this hilarious description. The balloons will wish they had never come. It's just ramps up the number of darts, attack speed, bigger missiles. Just it's a very strong tower.
Yeah, it attacks very fast. It's definitely a bit of a bitrate destroyer. It's just covering the screen with darts, but it's funny. And as mentioned, it's one of
yeah, bitrate destroyer is right. The GDQ seems to have a good bitrate, so it's fine. But it's a problem on my runs where I do not have. I don't configure. I don't like optimize my bitrate for this game, which I should. But there's a lot of pixels in that case.
the towers that can attack near the start and like see overall the.
Oh yeah, and if you're doing
so.
this strategy, I very strongly recommend binding your Geraldo hotkeys so that you can place these spikes much more quickly.
It's pretty good for that.
And then Geraldo.
Oh yeah, that looked close, but that's why we put these 2 spiked mines there is for round 80, and that just like that prevents you from dying. Like sometimes you don't need them, but you do want to place them just in case that happens. And you see it use only like 1.5 spiked mines, so.
Also has these upgraded spike mines, which are extremely good. They're only $55 each, so what we're going to do is spam them out. Geraldo's items generally get really good in the late game, so you're going to want to use them as much as you possibly can. Let's get this guy down.
Yeah, something we didn't mention about Geraldo is...
Yeah, and so you need to set Geraldo to first. Usually what I would do is slide him to first and then not have to set manually target this
you only have
turret to first,
what's in the
but
shop, and I think he
it
restocks
doesn't
some,
matter.
is it every wave?
Every level.
Oh yeah, that's wrong. Geraldo doesn't restock. Well, he doesn't restock every level. Different items restock at different cadences. So like I think the spikes restock 1 every round. The turrets restock every 5 rounds. Glues I think also restock every 4 or 5 rounds, something like that. And then when Geraldo gets to level 20, all the items get restocked. So that's, I think, what I was confusing it with. I wasn't, like, properly processing the question and then processing an answer because there's a lot going on. So that was inaccurate, what I said.
And then the one thing is that round 90 gets this big restock, which we also want to be aware of, but things move a bit fast. And now what we're doing is we're only gonna get 1 tier 5 here, so that's actually different from the other maps, and we're going to instead invest in some support. So the first bit of support we're going to get is this overclock.
Oh yeah, so I've seen people ask why you put the foam here. So actually it's not a great reason but what you do is if you put the foam here, it'll decamo only the DDTs. So on round 95, there's like fortified Moabs and DDTs. DDTs have a bigger hitbox. So if you put the foam on this tree stump, then the foam will hit only the DDTs and it won't hit the regular Moabs. And that's like a neat trick you can do to sort of decamo all the DDTs or a lot of them. I don't know if it's actually worth doing this here because we also used Geraldo's the camo potion on the Sky Shredder, and that's the reason for that is to do extra damage to camo balloons. And if they're getting decamoed, that might not be good, or it might not be like you might not want to decamo them just so that you get the extra damage. But like that's the idea here. So.
This lets you do is it lets you select 1 tower and increase its attack speed by 66%. So we're going to use...
Oh yeah, I said 66%. I think the actual number is 66.6, which would round up to 67. I think that's what it is. And yeah, obviously saying 67 is absolutely unacceptable for me because I don't want to run into those jokes if I don't have to.
Use that on our Sky Shredder kind of as much as we can on some of the harder rounds. So this has some ZOMGs, which the Sky Shredder is not great at dealing with, but overclocking it makes it a lot better.
Yeah, so overclock is good on like single towers that are very expensive. Like we spent 45,000 on this upgrade, and essentially by spending 15,000 on the overclock, it increases its overall damage output by about 50% with the active uptime. So.
I cannot overstate how hard it is to commentate while doing these last 15 rounds of Ravine. It is not easy. There's a lot you have to do. You have to place all these spikes, place all these turrets, get down the camo potions, upgrade get your shattering shells, micro your shattering shells to the different lanes. It's a lot. So. Oh, and your overclock.
Those two other things. You see that mortar there. It's going to be going into a shattering shells, which has an effect where if it hits blimps, it will, or anything. If it's fortified, it'll strip the fortification off of it. So anything fortified has.
I forgot to camo potion the Sky Shredder and the glue gunner. It's technically okay because I think we get this guy to a signal flare, so I think it did decamo the DDTs. And you're also able to pop them because the Sky Shredder can hit the DDTs, but they got pretty far.
So it's a very powerful support tower, especially for like.
And then I was like, oh wait, I'm supposed to camo potion these guys. Let me do that. Yeah, the DDT, like the ceramics hit these guys,
also,
which is not ideal.
Something that wasn't mentioned was Sky Shredder actually has what's called normal damage type, which means it can just hit everything. They'll do that sometimes with some tier 5s, particularly some more expensive ones, just for balancing reasons. It's easier to make them.
Supposed to use the overclock. Actually, got distracted with the
like what they can hit.
Everything else going on, and I'm like, oh wait, I need to overclock this.
It's getting pretty intense here. A lot of stuff gets really far because, as mentioned, ceramics are a big problem with this strategy, but hopefully we'll be getting through that just fine. A few other things like some glue up there. Yeah, there's got the shattering shells, so he'll be having to retarget that back and forth across the lanes a little bit because they keep alternating out of the lanes they come out of. But the ending of this run actually comes
so in particular, you need to overclock whenever there's ZOMGs. Otherwise, the ZOMGs will overwhelm you.
Pretty quickly. It'll be on round 100, but using a strategy that we use will pretty much insta-kill a bad. One of Geraldo's... Actually, we'll see 95 here real quick. It's just, obviously, it's a bunch of DTs and stuff. But Sky Shredder should handle it just fine, especially with the overclock.
Sky Shredder does not handle it just fine without the overclock, though, so I'll just say that.
But yeah, so one of Geraldo's items you could buy is a rejuve potion, which instantly refreshes all of your cooldowns. So you've seen us use the first strike, it just does a bunch of damage to the bad. And he has 2 of the rejuve potions in stock, so you can use 3 first strikes in a row, and that pretty much insta-kills the bad. And it will be time once the bad comes up, so...
once you see the insta-monkey at the end.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's actually worth it to use one rejuve potion so that you can first strike both of these guys, and then you won't have a rejuve potion for... You'll only have one rejuve potion for 100, but I'm wondering if that's worth it. Like, we'll see. Might need to time that.
A few other things he's...
You got these 2 genies, which are very good. And then we'll use some blade traps just to make sure things get cleaned up.
Yeah, these genies just fly around and shoot a bunch of damage really fast. They only last 2 rounds and they're expensive, but they are hugely powerful.
I didn't pre-place that you're supposed to, like, I generally use 2 blade traps for 98, but this one just didn't get used, so. And then sometimes what I do is I also place a glue on the right. So I wonder if I did that here. Yeah, I didn't do that there, but that's one thing you can do is because 99 can look kind of sketchy, especially if you fail to overclock this, then just put a glue down right here. That also helps a lot.
First strike, rejuve, first strike, rejuve, first strike, and there it is. Time.
So I'm really glad that he was able to commentate that because I like forget to. Like when I was practicing, I did a very bad job at calling time, so having him do that was really helpful. So that's cool. And the one big regret about this run is that this was actually a PB, and I didn't realize it. I like finished the run, and basically what it is there's a big screen. It's kind of above me, so I'd have to look up to see it, to see the actual time. And I didn't look up until we were about to fade out. And the thing is, like, if you get a PB, you want to call that out because the host will then hype it up and the crowd will get into it. It's like it's just a pretty hype thing to get to actually like have a PB in a GDQ run. So you should call that out, and I didn't, and that's like a kind of a regret. So even though there were 4 deaths, actually I posted on the speedrun subreddit and said there were 3 deaths, but there were actually 4, and a PB with 4 deaths. One day I'll do a run where I get no deaths maybe, and then we'll see. But yeah, the 3 deaths PB is acceptable.
Thank you, everyone. So sorry. Yeah. So just
Oh, there. I had on my phone. I had notes. I had like my commentary notes, and at the very bottom, I had the shout outs. So I wanted to actually have my phone open to do that, but my your phone is gonna be off, so I had to open my phone, and that's what I was doing there, so that I could make sure I read all the shout outs I had, because sometimes it's hard to remember.
to kind of cap everything off, for some shout outs. So thanks to the BTD6 speedrunning community and just the general community, but in particular, FrostyMate came up with the strategies for 3 of these maps. So thank you to him.
Yeah, it's important to me, at least. I like so this is definitely my view, is that when you're doing a run at like a really big marathon like GDQ to like 30,000 people, you want to like not only represent like the game yourself, but also like represent the game and kind of the speedrun community behind the game. Like, I know that like apparently that's not necessarily like a common opinion. I don't know. But like, yeah, I really wanted to give the shout out to Frosty in particular, because he did come up with the 3 of the strategies on this map, or on this in this run. It's a little more complicated. Like so the Ravine strategy, I had my own strategy with the Sky Shredder. I was insisting that we have to use Sky Shredder for this, which makes sense. And I had my own strategy for it, and then Frosty just came up with a better one that gets the Sky Shredder before round 80. Mine would get it like during round 82, but getting it before round 80 is just much faster. And then he used overclock, whereas I was doing a lot more stalling. And then also, ouch, like he kind of we adjusted my old strategy that no longer worked to make it work. And then quad was purely his strategy. He has a guide on that is really good. But yeah, it was important for me to shout him out, and then I also shouted out Dorio.
YouTube. He has some awesome guides, and he also streams on Twitch. Dorio came up with the Bloody Puddles strategy, so follow him on YouTube. He makes excellent guides.
Yeah, I use that.
Yeah, I asked Dorio if he wanted to come, but he couldn't make it. So I wanted to shout him out just because it was his strategy as well. So it just felt, I don't know, I just wanted to make sure to try to uplift other people in the community, particularly the ones that kind of build the foundations of this speedrun, that made this speedrun possible. So that's just it. I thought that I just wanted to kind of do right by the community, and I would hope that if you get a run into GDQ, if you're watching this, that you yourself also try to like uplift the community and give them their props for kind of providing the foundation that let you submit this game, or you submit your game. So just try to do right by your community. That's what I would say.
Strat for my Black Border.
And then Ninja Kiwi for sending me merch. So again, watch me on Twitch. I stream this. I also have YouTube videos. I make guides for chimps and the 2 people in the audience who like half cash. I make half cash guides.
Yeah, this was a funny thing. Apparently 2 people in the audience that like half cash was optimistic. Apparently 0 people in the audience like half cash. So I meant not just the audience, the live audience, but also like the Twitch audience, the 30,000 people. I'm pretty sure 0 people like half cash, but I do have half cash guides, so check those out.
And this game will be free on Epic tomorrow, so if you like what you saw here, definitely pick it up and check it out.
Yeah, highly recommend. I love this game. I've played it basically since release. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know if that was intentional. I doubt it was, but the free game. And I guess one thing I didn't mention is that there's like a GDQ Humble Bundle, and BTD6 was included in that as well. But I guess they got kind of undercut by being released free on Epic the following day. So
definitely check it out. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the marathon. Thanks for watching.
Yep, and that's the end of the run. So yeah, so that was a lot of That was a lot of fun. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you guys kind of got a little bit about my thought process behind this speed run that I did. It was a lot of fun. GDQ is great. Definitely go if you can. I'm a little bit like asocial, so it's much more fun if you're like more social. You're like good at making friends, or if you have friends already there. But no, it's fun. Also, I think I was also very worried about getting sick because I like didn't want to get sick before my run because then like I wouldn't be able to do it. And I also didn't want to get sick when I came home because I have if it was like people here that I don't want to get them sick. So, but and you see people behind there wearing masks, so I'd like recommend that in like big social events in general. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Anyways, regardless of my difficulty socializing. So yeah, highly recommended. I have like the guidelines on submitting, getting a run in, or maybe like hypotheses on how to do it. So, but yeah, so that's the run. Thanks everybody for watching this reaction video.